Farmers of color in this country have been waiting since March of last year for $4 billion in pandemic aid they were promised to make up for decades of discrimination. Yesterday, Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack gave an update on where that funding stands. During a speech in Georgia at the American Farm Bureau Convention, Vilsack said, "We're filing briefs, we're filing motions, we're doing discovery, we're moving forward so that if something doesn't get worked out in Congress, ultimately judges will make decisions and we'll go from there." The $4 billion in relief have been kept from Black farmers after judges sided with white farmers who argued in court that the debt relief program discriminated against them. Joining me now to discuss is founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, John Boyd. Mr. Boyd, you've been on the show several times. You have not always had favorable things to say about Vilsack. How do you take his comments in Georgia?
Well, the bottom line, Charles, is that the Black farmers and farmers of color, we still don't have our money. And as I speak today, there are farmers all over this country who are receiving farm foreclosure and demand notices. So instead of getting the actual debt relief that we were eligible for, they're getting notices in the mail that they have to make the payments, that their farm is going to be put up for foreclosure. And that's what we've been fighting against the whole time. And what we didn't hear from the secretary is holding white farmers accountable for suing Black farmers in 12 separate complaints and 12 courts around the country, that the National Black Farmers Association has filed amicus briefs in all of those cases. So we're out here leading this fight and trying to raise money to defend this case in court and to make sure that our voices are heard. And what's being left out of these complaints are the history of discrimination that Black farmers have faced, from slavery to Jim Crow to being able to buy land after the Civil War, and the government stole millions of acres from Black farmers. We're fighting to make sure that those things make it into the documents and federal court in this country. And people need to know we don't want a handout. We want the same as white farmers have been getting for hundreds of years in this country. It's Black farmers who didn't get debt relief, and it's white farmers who have been getting debt relief this whole time. That's what my 30-year campaign was about, trying to get this bill passed, and we finally got it passed. And as I sit here and speak to you, and we spoke a number of times about this, we still don't have the money. And that's been the story of the Black farmer in this country.
So I was reading through some of Vilsack's statements. I didn't read the whole speech, but I read some clips of it. It instead of addressing straight head on that what was Black farmers had faced was racism, oppression, isolation, discrimination, he was using terms of art like adverse circumstances, whatever. Has that been your experience of dealing with him? It felt to me like he was trying not to offend the other people he was speaking to by forthrightly saying that there was racial oppression that led to these inequities, and we have to address those before we address anything else.
Well, and what I've been saying the whole time is Secretary Vilsack has to address this, the issue of Black farmers and discrimination head on. And you really can't play footsie with white farmers in this country, large-scale white farmers who have been getting the whole time. If you're going to address discrimination, you have to take it on head on, and you can't give it window dressing. Someone is spitting on you and calling you racial epithets and only seeing Black farmers a certain day of the week. People, it is what it is. It's discrimination. It's wrong. And the only way to fix it in this country is to address it head on. Now, we have to address why these white farmers are suing 12 separate complaints in this country, and why they are stopping payments and relief to needy Black farmers, deserving Black farmers who have been waiting for this relief for decades, people. This isn't a new request by Black farmers. It isn't reparations. Right. It's debt that we're eligible for. We should have been getting it the whole time. I should have been getting it. while my white counterparts in Mecklenburg County, Virginia, were getting debt relief, myself and other black farmers in this county that I live in were not getting it. And I'm using myself as an example,
Right,
because I know it happened.
In the Black community, we were prepared by setting certain goals, objectives for ourselves. This was done primarily in the home, in the church, and in the school at that particular time, because schools had a heavy reinforcement into our characters because they were Black schools. Schools were not integrated at that time. Do the best that you can with your life. You are unique. You have a contribution to make. You have something to offer. You have a talent. You have skills. Many, many other things that you do have. Go on out there into the world and get them. Don't stay. Relative to white America, we were taught that a lot of the values that came into being were set by middle class, let's say white America. In a way, we were to emulate them, because at this point we were at the very threshold of integration. Emulate them, take on many of these as much as possible middle class values and virtues. There was a kind of inferior stigma placed on Black people. You had to look through it to see exactly where the real truth behind it. That is a stigma of inferiority. You're not exactly where you should be. But you need to do this. You need to do thus and so. In order to be accepted in a white world, into a white culture. You see. They have their values, we have our values. But in a general sense, the world was teaching this too, in a general sense, our values did not bear, they would tell us in general, as much weight as theirs. So let's try. What does this mean then? What do you say? Go to college, excel in school while you're here and wherever you do go. Appearance, reading, writing, many other things.
And then too, in this area, we were taught to stay in our place, whatever that meant, stay in your place, because our parents were afraid that if we stepped out of our place, we might get killed, we might get hurt, because they knew that because of racism here in Prince Edward County, anything could happen to you. So they were fearful. It hurt, but it brought about some self-pride too, because in school we were taught, we had role models, like I mentioned before. We had role models, and our teachers, instilled self-pride, and we just knew that someday, it wasn't going to be like this all the time. That someday we were going to be somebody. So you just kept that in your minds. And one day we're going to leave Prince Edward. We're not going to be in farm the rest of our lives, And for the most part, most of us did.
There were imaginary geographical boundaries in our minds as to how far we could go. There were imaginary psychological boundaries in our mind and emotional boundaries in our minds as to how far we could go, relative to the Black-white situation. So we learned to work within the confines, to be creative as much as possible, to make, as Black people say a lot of times, make do with what you have. And by this adaptability to this old inner culture, this is what brought forth many other things, many of the qualities and the strengths. And it meant that we had to live beyond where we were. We were not taught just to watch where you're walking right now, just to look down right where you're in the 50s. But look ahead, there's something out there,
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live show on the forecast. Y'all, I appreciate all of y'all for watching. And you know, shout out to everybody that come in and everybody that will eventually listen. And definitely make sure y'all subscribe to the backup channel. You know, I'm gonna probably do another live premiere soon, but you know, I'll let y'all know. But make sure y'all subscribe to this channel and the other channel, because you know, there's no telling when they will take my channel down. So, you know, just so you up on what's going on, make sure y'all subscribe to both channels, you know. And you know, shout out to everybody. What's going on, Bakari? And I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Now, you know, we already know what it is, and I got to shout out to a lot of people because people have predicted this for a long time, you know. And although we always talk about, you know, it's beyond time that we got to do something, it's beyond time that we got to do something. Now is critical, is here, you know, and people like MG2 have given warnings about it. You know, we have done shows about be prepared, be prepared. You never know what's gonna come. Be prepared. We have talked about this over and over, right? When the COVID thing first happened, we did a lot of shows of talking about be prepared. You know, before I even came on here, people was on here talking about be prepared. Now, we are in a time, right, where we have a decision that we have to make. And it could be like a lot of our loved ones are gone, right? If we don't do something. Right now, we are in a time where we cannot go backwards. And there's a golden opportunity right there. There's a golden opportunity, but we as a people hate more than we can see the opportunity that's right there in front of us. Now I know I don't know where city you from, and y'all let me know if I'm right or wrong, but it's happening where I'm saying that. Now we're starting to see the shelves in the grocery store getting emptier and emptier and emptier. Now it could be a coincidence, but people have told you that we have seen this playing out over and over and over. We have said, be prepared, get canned goods, do this, do that. But see, like the more you start going to the store and the less food that's in the on the shelves, right? The more savage you gonna start seeing, because we get caught up like this ain't the real world. We get caught up in this fantasy life. But believe it or not, life is gonna catch up to you. Yo, what's going on, Bakari? Yo,
Chilling, man. What's going on? What's going on?
nothing much, Bakari. Yo, let me ask you real quick. Like, the grocery stores where you from, have you been seeing like the shelves be emptier and emptier?
Hell yeah. You ain't gonna get no chicken wings. You lucky if you find some milk.
Man,
You
I
know, a
ain't
lot of
seen
black people
chicken
don't
wings
drink milk
since.
no more, but you know,
Yeah,
you
I
lucky
ain't
if you
seen,
find milk, eggs.
yeah, I ain't seen chicken wings since probably like the election, bro.
Yeah, yeah. They running, and then what they do have is extremely high. Not just that, paper towel, everything, man. You know how much what was it? 8 rolls of paper towel were the other day?
How
What was
much?
it? 8 equal. No, 12. 12 rolls of paper towel was supposed to be the same as 30. It was $33 in the store, man.
$33 for some toilet paper?
That was for the paper towel.
For the
Yes.
paper towels?
Yes. 33. I'm like, what the hell? You got to be rich to afford paper towel and toilet paper nowadays.
But that's the thing that's about to come. You know, you're gonna have to be rich to afford to eat grapes in a minute, you know what I'm saying, to eat Chef Boyardee, you know. And that's what
Yep.
and that's the thing people been trying to tell everybody, to be prepared. You know, now even on the news, they telling people, and you probably should anyway, but they telling people to have weeks worth of food in their homes because these stores is not being able to get the food in, you know what I'm saying, to get the products in. So now we are in a point, right, where, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, you could take the red pill or the blue pill, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can wake up to reality and see what's about to happen, or you can sleep, you know what I'm saying, and then end up hungry one day, not knowing where the next meal is going to come from. You know what I'm saying? And we can't act like it didn't slowly creep up on us, you know. And I can't say that I've done everything in the world to be prepared as I should have, even though I know better. But there are things that I've done to be prepared for myself, you know, and to be able to protect my family, right? But when people try to be like, you know, I'm like think about like I forget how they say it, but like I'm, you know, like fantasy almost, like, you know, like it's like, but no, I look at it like it's the simple things. Like at the end of the day, right, you're gonna be hungry, you're gonna have a family who has to who has to eat, you know what I'm saying? You have children, they have to eat. What you gonna do when they don't have that baby formula in there? They already talking about like pet food and stuff is at a all-time low. And we see what's going on in every aspect. And not only that, like Bakari was just saying, the prices of everything is skyrocketing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go into the store and try to get like some wings, you're gonna pay like $12 for like 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? So this is a point right now. We are at a crucial time that we cannot even take lightly, because I mean, we can hate each other and all that stuff all day long, you know what I'm saying? But this stuff is going to come to your door. You know what I'm saying? There is in my opinion, because I'm that's a conspiracy theorist kind of thing, but all of this stuff is organized, it is planned, and it's not just they're slowly getting people without just taking it and causing panic, but they're slowly changing the fabric of how they do things. And you know, people talk about the new world order. We have to get up on the old world order first, right? We have to get in some kind of order first, you know, because right now you are about to start going to your stores, and some of our loved ones are in serious danger now, serious jeopardy of, you know what I'm saying, like whatever, you know, like what you gonna do, like if you can't get insulin, you know what I'm saying? How much is that gonna hurt a lot of our families? But that's the time that we living in right now, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Bakar, you want to say something?
Give me 1 second.
All right, yeah. Yeah, just let me know.
All right, yeah. But you know what? Like you said, the shows we were doing about being ready, getting canned goods, and that's some things that we need to start doing now before the can. Like you said, it's gonna be expensive to eat Vienna sausage in a minute. So we gonna have to get those canned goods, rice, beans, all that right now, or we gonna have to start trying to deal. We gonna have not trying to. We're gonna have to start dealing. We're gonna have to find black farmers in our area and start dealing with the black farmers, so we can be taken care. Because right now, bro, right now we're at the bottom. Right now we're struggling, and we the only group of people, man. We don't have grocery stores. We have nothing we can go to. We don't have the industry. Like if you go see the Hispanics, right now you're seeing more Hispanic owned trucking companies. So guess who's doing the food and making sure they're having food in the Hispanic grocery stores? Them. So you know who doing it to the other grocery stores? You see the Asians. Everybody got all their own. We have allowed ourselves to become totally dependent on the rest of American society. And right now is the time when there's opportunities. This transportation business is booming. Right now is the time for us to get in, and we need to be taking our stuff. You understand? Well, we can take groceries from Georgia to Virginia, Virginia to Mississippi. We supposed to be doing that for us, and now is the time for do it. And before someone say, "Well, I don't have a CDL," guess what? You don't need a CDL. They make 26-foot box trucks where you don't need a CDL, and we can haul stuff. 22-foot box trucks where we can haul stuff. But that's what we have to start doing. And the time is now. What we going through right now is going to be gone by 2024. And if we wait till this recession is over, everything is going up and you're running out of everything. If you wait till it's over, we will never get nothing. Because once everything get back to what they would call normal, we do know what normal is for us, right? Forecast. So since the whole country in the whole world right now is out of whack, it's time for us to put our foot in the door and make a statement. Communicate. Drop these stupid issues. That's what we have to do. I hear the mic.
Yeah, yo, that's facts, Bakari. And that's what I was gonna lead into with like the next thing, because now is a time, right, where it's either going to be destruction, right? And like I said, it's not on some conspiracy theorist kind of stuff. I'm just talking about what's going on with the changes in the world, because we don't talk about politics as far as the world. We may talk about what America is doing in politics, you know what I'm saying, but we don't talk about politics as how we going to survive as a people, you know what I'm saying? But this is a golden opportunity, that's the way we have to look at it. It could be our destruction or it could be a golden opportunity, because now all those excuses and all of that stuff, you can throw that right out the window. I doubt people be on here arguing about colorism or about where they come from when they hungry, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be a whole different ball game. And this is a golden opportunity, like Bakari was just saying, because that's a great idea about the box trucks. You could hop in a box truck and move supplies and all of that kind of stuff, because right now you don't have any other choice but to support Black farmers or become a farmer yourself, because how else are you going to eat? I mean, if you go to the store right now, like to what, because we going to Kroger, you know what I'm saying, let's be real, or whatever store that's near you, we go into those places, you know what I'm saying? And even in those places, when you look at the vegetables in there right now, are you going to tell me that it's getting more fresh or less fresh? When you look at the fruit, if it's there, it's getting worse and worse. It don't even look like real fruit no more. I went in the other day and it looked like those fruit that you had, like, they had the fake fruit that you put in the basket or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure all our homes had one. And the grapes was literally looking like that. But this is a golden opportunity if you know a Black person that knows how to um grow grapes or like whatever it is, who knows the process to make it, you know what I'm saying? This is a golden opportunity for us to know truck drivers who are Black and are willing to work with us, because it may not be like the dawn of the dead, like, you know what I'm saying, you running around the neighborhood with a shotgun, but it is on a point where when I call it the Hunger Games, that's what it literally is, you know what I'm saying? Because when people get hungry, circumstances change, things change, and this could easily be another catastrophe where we lose our loved ones, you know what I'm saying, like our family, our moms, our dads, our, you know what I'm saying, our brothers and sisters. Or it could be an opportunity for us to gain brothers and sisters, not to sound preachy, or unity and all of that kind of stuff, because when you hungry, it don't matter who the person is, but now in this system, every other group is doing what they have to do. China is going into Africa, taking all of the land and doing the things that they're doing so that their people can survive. When we talk about us, we just talking about BS because we don't want to face the issue. But now the issue is in your face, and then ain't nothing you could do when you start going to Winn-Dixie or wherever you go shop at, or, you know what I'm saying, Food Lion or whatever you go, and they don't got the bread that you're looking for, or eggs is $10, you know what I'm saying? That is happening right now. And the only way to do that is to support the Black farmers. But a lot of people don't even know what the Black farmers is going through trying to get funding. But it shouldn't even be them going through that to get funding, even though, yes, like he said, is a debt that is given to them. You know what I'm saying? It was something that was stolen from them and they trying to get it back. But at the same time, there's no reason why we as a people shouldn't be putting up with the black farmers so that they can help us all get through this pandemic. And maybe we can learn from survival instincts where we need each other to survive, that way we could actually do business together and actually build a nation. But I'm not even on that point yet. I'm on the point where we gotta survive what's going on right now, because every other group is putting themselves in position, and this is a golden opportunity for us to do the things that we got to do. Because if it's not that opportunity, this is going to be another, because I mean, to us, I mean, it seems like a common thing where it's millions of people are dying that look like us around the globe, and we don't even want to identify with each other based off of that fact alone, that no matter where you go on this planet, somebody is going to identify you as just another nigga. And I say that because that's what they created, that's the image, and that's how they treat it. And now we try to escape that image, but we can't escape it no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to see in the next year or so, or however long it takes, what's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Bakar, you want to go in on that?
Yeah, because I hear you talking about taking advantage of things that are offered, right? And the things that we need to do, correct? So our brother Ben Uko, right? He's trying to get funding for his for what he's doing for Zone 103 podcast, right? And by the way, what's up, brother BB? I got that from Marcus Garvey too. Good to see you, brother BB. So, did I send you the email forecast?
What email?
Did you get an email from me today?
Hold on, I don't know. Let me check real quick.
I sent it to MG2. I sent it to Ben. It's for him, but I want to talk to him and see if there's something he's interested in. See what it is, right? See, we have to take advantage of things that offer, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't get no email.
Okay, I'll send it to you. But the state of Mississippi, right? They're begging people to move there. They're trying to, Jackson is growing, right? Trying to get the growth up, right? It's growing. So, they got Silicon Valley, you got Austin, Texas, you got all these big tech cities, right? So Jackson, Mississippi is a black girl from down there, black lady from down there. She's opening up a black-owned tech school, right? What Ben is into, right? So what they're doing is the state and the city, they're offering millions of dollars for people to bring their small tech companies to Jackson, Mississippi. 5 employees or less, something like that. I sent him the email. I hope he found it interesting enough to check it out, right? Because if you need funding, and that funding, it could be a place you never thought about. But if we're going to do the things that we have to do to build ourselves up, we can't say, well, I can't go there. It's Mississippi. You understand what I'm saying? So I want him to come so we can encourage him to do that and see what he has to do to get some of that millions of dollars for his business. Then you build it the way you want to build it. But if they're offering it and you can get it, take advantage. Use the tools that's at the tip of your hands. And for someone that's a techie, that's what they call them, I think, like Ben, this is an opportunity for him. Peace, brother Guy Nollywood Jr. This is an opportunity for him to get hundreds of $1,000s made, maybe even $1 million for his tech company. Take advantage of that opportunity. You can stay in Minnesota. You can leave it, but just bring it there. Bring it there. Set up there. Get you some homegrown talent there and use that as a hub and get that money. We have to start taking advantage. We have to stop complaining and start taking advantage of opportunities that's offered. We can't sit back and say they won't do this for us or they ain't going to do this for us. No, they're not. But if they're offering that money, and right now, the way this country is, you notice they've been doing all these black business commercials on TV. They're doing them now. They're trying to steal our thunder. So let's use that. Just like the trucking industry, the food industry, we need this tech. We want to get away from having to use everything they do and have him build. So we need to be with him. And he needs to start thinking to see if that is something that he can do. He has to take advantage of it. I hear the mic.
Yeah, facts, Bakari. Yo, what's going on, guy?
Yeah, what's up, my brother? How's everything? Peace,
Everything
brother
good.
Bakari.
Hey, why you say hotel to him but peace to me? What's up with that?
It's the same thing, brother. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just listening. I'm just trying to just find out, like I know you said Hunger Games, so I'm just
Yeah, I got. Let me ask you, yo, like at the where you at? If you been going to the grocery stores lately, like, have they been getting emptier and emptier?
when I go to the grocery stores,
Yeah.
not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, it's usually, I won't say it's packed, but it'd be people in there.
No, I mean,
No,
like
he's talking about the shelf. Like y'all running out of like food on the shelves. He don't grocery shop,
not where I'm at. I haven't seen where it's like shelves are empty or getting empty. I never. Last
For
time
real?
I've been to the grocery store.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. Do a favor, guy.
Mhm.
Go make a trip if you can to a grocery store just one day this week.
Okay.
And just go walk around and look
Okay.
at milk, eggs, chicken, everything. Look at, man, I'm gonna record the grocery store here. If you go in there and it's not a truck day, because the truck's always behind.
Exactly.
If it's not a truck day, man, ain't hardly nothing. I told you, guys, stuff is running so low here. They had 12 rolls of paper towel. 12 rolls supposed to equal 30 for $33, bro. Paper towel.
$33 for how
12
many
rolls
rolls?
of paper towel.
Oh, that's too much money.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I say go to the store and see if you see.
Yeah.
The more it's just going up and up.
I'm you know what? I don't really go shopping, but
ask your wife.
Yeah, yo, I ain't seen French fries in the store for like 2 months now. Like,
shit. Wow.
No chicken wings. When was the last time your wife cooked some chicken wings, guy? See how you got to think. You know why?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Because it's been a minute since there been some in the store.
Yeah. we are like if the last time I had some chicken wings that we used to get them from like a party platter or something like that. We order it, but we never make it.
Okay.
Like I'm just saying for special occasions.
Yeah. Do y'all have what's that thing? Do they have a Wingstop in Virginia?
Yeah.
They got a Wingstop in New York, guy.
A Wingstop? Well, they have a chicken spot, but I don't say a wing spot.
Here they have a Wingstop, and they have Wingstops. Forecast if they got a Wingstop here. I know you've seen the Wingstop commercials with what his name on it? The fat Rick Ross, because he owned like 20. I give him props for that. He bought like 20 of them and put in black neighborhoods and hired black folks. I give him that. But they advertising now. We now have thighs. They now are making hot like thighs, like wings, because there ain't hardly none. That's all you can. Yep. Go ahead, guy. I'm sorry, I took your talk. What's up, MG2?
No. Yeah, what's up, MG2? How you doing, brother?
Always good. Good to listen to you, brothers.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah, MG2. What about you? Where you from? How is the stores looking more empty?
First, I got to thank you guys for having me up here because guess what? I went shopping today, and I cook, and I'm not just talking regular. I used to chef back in the day. Empty is an understatement. It wasn't like this before, and keep in mind we're right next to the supply chain, so the ships get to us before they get to you guys. And I did the video out there, you know, in one of my workout videos. I was at the beach, and I did, and all the ships to this very right over here at the port we're at, they're still lined up trying to get in. It's not as bad as it was a couple months ago, but the shelves today were so empty. There's no honey in 5 supermarkets where I'm at. Absolutely no honey whatsoever. They've got agave and stuff like that, and you know, not even their regular store, the store brand. They do have some of the necessities like flour and stuff like that. Toilet paper, it depends on which stores you go. And here's the kicker: Mexican stores or those that are the Asian stores are getting hit hard, but the Mexican stores, or I should say the Hispanic stores, they're fully stocked and they have not had a problem. I shouldn't say no problem. They haven't had as much of a problem with the supply chains. But here's the real kicker: because of inflation, and I've been doing this video quite a bit on the economic shows, we have what's called shrinkflation. If you've noticed when you go into your store, like what, you know, you used to, maybe you could buy like, you know, a bag full of potatoes. Notice that that bag is the same cost, but half the size. And that's what's happening across the board. You're still paying the same price for something, or they might have elevated the price by 20, 30%, but the bags are so much smaller. The fruit is smaller. The potatoes are smaller. Everything is just, it's called shrinkflation. And so it's only going to get worse.
It's called
So
what?
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm asking. It's called what? What kind of? It's called what?
Shrinkflation, like you have
Okay.
you have different types of metrics for an economy. You've got inflation, deflation, reflation, disinflation. You have, and these are measures of their economy. Shrinkflation is basically, it's like things go up in cost for the manufacturers or for your grocery stores or for gas or whatever it is. Things are going to go up in cost, especially if you saw the price of oil this week. It hit 7-year highs. But the thing is since it costs them to go ahead and bring it to you, they can't give it to you at the same price. So if you're over there in Georgia, the peach state, if you're buying some peaches, you're going to notice that the peaches are small, or you won't get as many for the same price that you paid last August, or even September. You know, so whatever you paid for in September up to October, if you go out to buy the exact same thing today, a bag of razors for your razor blade, it doesn't matter. You're going to notice that they're going to be half the size or half as much, and it's going to either cost you the same or a tiny bit more. And that's what shrinkflation is.
Oh, okay. Hey, can I ask you a question, MG2?
Uh-huh.
Did you get a chance to check out the email I sent you?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
I just got back in from working out, and it was like a major workout day, and I had to run to the store, so I just got back in. But yeah, and is this the thing that you were telling me about with Benuco?
Yeah, I want him to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all about commerce. You know, it's all about, you know, bringing revenue in, because to give you guys a little heads up, it's going to get a lot. It's going to get a lot tighter in terms of being able to get stuff done. I don't know if you've been watching what's going on in terms of they keep talking about this inflation. It's about to get brutal. I mean, really, really brutal. And things like what Ben's doing, if he can capitalize on the stuff that you were telling me earlier, you know, if a state or anybody's giving you money for something, grab it. Grab it now, because pretty soon they won't have the money to give, because inflation is going to drive them into the situation where they can't. So what I would do, especially with like Erica Howard, if she's got like anything that has to do with baking, notice that they're talking about possibly relocking down and all this other stuff. If she can get her stuff into the public school system, and therefore that would subsidize something that they're probably paying a lot more for, or she could be doing something for, you know, like every Friday for whatever, you know, and it could be from K5 to probably K11 or something, and she could get her products into these schools, and that way it'll take some of the brunt off of whatever they're buying. They could buy from her at a lot less cost. Then, you know, these are ways that you can actually get revenue. You know, I mean, I'm thinking on all kinds of fronts, not just schools. I would also, if I were her or anyone else, I would attack military. I would attack churches. I would attack like Shriners clubs. It doesn't matter what race they are. I would attack anything that has to do with Asians in terms of, like, I would go with quinceañeras over to the Philippines quinceañeras. If I were her, I would be attacking these folks and saying, I will supply this for you. And, give them a little taste, and then say, I'll do your, instead of full catering, you'll get something, whether it's a wedding or whatever it is. I'd have that on lockdown for every race, every other community that she could. For Brother Uko, I would hit that state up with whatever revenue they can, but then I would also do, and like we were talking about earlier about making a hub. I would say if I can't go there and I can't move my operations, I will set up an operations there with somebody I trust. I wouldn't let the folks know this. I would just tell them, I wouldn't let the state know that, hey, we're just trying to set this up and we don't have it ready. I would just tell them, we already have we have a satellite, we have a subsidiary of Ben Uko Service that is actually located in Mississippi, so it'll save them money over there at the state. The state will go, oh, okay, no relocation fee or this, that, the other. Oh, okay. And, have the state pay for his servers, have the state pay for just about everything he wants, get that money there, and just have somebody trusted that, that can code, and that could actually, for, databasing and security of whatever servers or whatever he's got. And now all of a sudden, he might be based somewhere else, but he's now based in Mississippi, even if he's got someone he's working with. He can and not have to micromanage. He could actually farm it out, but it'll still be part of his company.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to ask MG2 a question, but first I'm gonna let Guy and Bakari speak, because MG2, you brought up something that be pissing me off. You said shrinkflation and inflation, and ultimately I'm getting to why, I'm saying, like Pan-Africanism, or because people want to cry or whatever, you could say pan-black if that's what you got to say, what I'm saying, but that's the point, what I'm saying. You gonna stop arguing about words when it ain't no more food in the stores, what I'm saying, and you gonna start working together or be destroyed, what I'm saying. Either way, I'm cool. So it's just, as long as the system is broken, we can be destroyed. I'm cool with that, what I'm saying. But I would much rather us start working together. And I want to ask MG2 a question, but first, Bakari or Guy, both of y'all, about the shrinkflation, because that be pissing me off a lot. What I'm saying? You be paying all this money and then you look in the bag, it's empty inside, or whatever you get is not like it was. You paying a lot more money for a lot less stuff, what I'm saying, for a lot less of the product, and the product is worse than it was before, what I'm saying. And we as sheep go along with it, but of course we can't support a black business because the white man's ice is colder and all that. But that whole thing, these are the things that really should be pissing us off, not us getting killed by the police, what I'm saying, but the stuff that is set up for in this society that we can easily change, that we could easily stop messing with them and do our own thing in these kind of areas, what I'm saying. And we aren't mad enough for that, but first, before we even get to that point, Bakari, Guy, y'all got something to say?
No, go ahead. I'm listening. I don't.
Guy.
Yeah, I just think that I agree. I think we should focus on bigger issues. And I'm not saying that getting gunned down is not, you're getting gunned down by just not police, but just white folks, period. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that's not a big issue, because I think we all should defend ourselves. I think that should be nature of itself. But I think we should. I do see what you're saying, back in the day, when you used to get a bag of groceries for a nickel. You know what I'm saying? That's what our parents used to say when they was growing up. But nowadays it just, because of greed, Biden himself, he's putting, he want to take care of these immigrants, these pale immigrants that come over here, and he's doing a lot of budget cutting, just a lot of spending, instead of focusing on the people already in the country, the citizens. So And I think that's the problem, and I think that's the issue right now because so much money is being spent. They got to print out all this money, which cause inflation. You know what I'm saying? And then what they do, they hike up the rent. So there's a lot of cutting corners and stuff. So now the people like ourselves, like we suffering. You know what I'm saying? We already have to deal with racism. Now we got to deal with just this global corrupt economy. You know what I'm saying? And where we getting something for nothing. You know what I'm saying? We paying for we not really getting a bang for our buck. And until we wake up and say, you know what, the hell with that. Let's support each other. Okay, if I'm gonna pay $10, you know, like you said, the milk is going up or whatever. The milk is like damn near $5 or $6, probably a little more than that. Shit, I mean, we can if we knew our people that work in the farm, we don't have to. We can try to do business and where that it could benefit us as a people. Like we need to start producing. And that's the thing. We need to start producing. We need to have, find connections within ourselves. Because you got black people that own farms and stuff like that. But if we could just invest in our people enough where we don't have to depend on white folks, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes down to food. You know what I'm saying? We like you were saying, we got people like Erica Howard that bake, and you got all these people that all our people that know how to cook and know how to make things from scratch. You know what I'm saying? But we need to invest in our people so they can get the ingredients that they need so they can provide for our people. You know what I mean? So we don't have to pay more for little. You know what I'm saying? We could pay. It's like I said. If we pay, just say I pay you $10, you probably give me, a nice bag full of groceries. You know what I'm saying? It would last me for a week or two. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just going to the white man's store or whatever, or the yellow man's store or the brown man's store, I'm paying $10 for one item. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to work. So everybody know the dollar is not worth anything. And we already know that. The currency over here is crap. So that's another issue, but we got to make it work for ourselves by investing in ourselves. And I yield the mic.
Yeah, facts. I agree with everything you said, guy. Yeah, and MG2, I want to ask you a question, and you can add on to anything too, and then answer, and then the question. But I want to because I heard you talk about it for a while now, the stuff that's going on with, like, Russia, Ukraine, and all of that stuff. And I want to understand, like, what's the impact of that, and what effect does that have on us, if any at all, or is it just like white on white crime or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, MG2.
To give you kind of an idea, the world is so inextricably linked, and anything that affects anyone else in the world has a greater impact on black folks than it does them themselves. Whatever happens between China and Russia has a greater impact on Africans and black folk globally than it does on China and Russia. This thing going on with the United States and Russia has 4 or 5 times more impact on black folks than it does between the United States and Russia. See, the thing is, and I'm glad Brother Guy brought that up in terms of, the self-sufficiency, because here's the kicker. If you depend on someone else and that someone else is having some problems, he's going to look out for his issues before he gets to you. And unfortunately, everything that we rely on, that's why the shrinkflation and what's going on is so important, because we have to go to their stores. Until we own and control everything from the seed to the trucks that actually bring it, to the manufacturing of the trucks, to the food that's being brought, to the storage, to the supermarkets, until we control all aspects of the supply chain. I'm not just talking food. I'm talking medical care. I'm talking security. Folks that can make a lock and a key. Folks that can. I'm talking glass. People that can actually. I mean, I'm talking every industry we rely on somebody else on. Then when they're in trouble or they got problems, they got to figure out their problems first. Anyone that depends on them is going to have to wait in line because a person's got to feed themselves. Or if you get on a plane, what's the first thing they tell you if there's a problem with the cabin pressure? Put your mask on first before you assist someone else. And that's just the way economies, countries, their life is in and of itself, especially in this Eurocentric economy. So what happened is you've got a perfect storm that happened to these Europeans. So the crackers got his hands full. Okay, Peckerwoods not only got their hands full, they also got their feet full. They got a situation right now where they mismanaged, and of course, thank you, Trump, which like I said, I am so glad he did this. He mismanaged a so-called economy during a so-called pandemic. That he mismanaged everything, didn't know what he was doing, and it folded over to this other clown that's in office right now that still doesn't know. They've mismanaged, but this didn't start just there. It actually started 30 years ago in the bond markets, and that's the cost of money. They've been basically kicking a can because the thing about Peckerwoods is they don't know a first thing about how to manage things, but they give the illusions that they do. Okay, and they give the world the illusion of this is how we manage stuff. Especially when I say Peckerwood, I'm talking the Western, the so-called West, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, and their allies. New Europe, for lack of a better term. So they've mismanaged stuff for years. I mean, for decades. We're talking maybe back toward the 80s. Now, the thing is when you mismanage for sooner or later, the fat lady's going to sing and you're going to have to come to the table. It's like a child that doesn't want to go ahead and show his homework. And then sooner or later, dad's going to say, everybody else showed their homework and you're 3 days late. What happened? And all of a sudden, you go to school with whelps on your leg. Well, the thing is they haven't been showing their homework for 30 years. So now all of a sudden, dad, i.e. like they say, Monday's wash day, it all comes out in the wash. It's Monday, okay? And now all of a sudden they're trying to scramble to try to make things happen. So they got desperate with this geopolitical situation. This is no different than the 80s because I lived through the so-called Cold War and I saw all that was going on. And a lot of folks think that I might be an alarmist. But if you look at what the European Union said today, when Stoltenberg over there, the Norwegian guy, and what Blinken said today, and then the German defense minister said, I think it was them, but it was one of them said, we haven't seen this kind of fear. In other words, we haven't seen this kind of brinkmanship since the 80s. And anyone that's lived through the 80s knows when they were promoting movies like Threads, The Day After, and stuff like that, a lot of folks don't think that things could happen. I'm telling y'all point blank, these crackers are pushing the world to the brink. Bottom line. They're pushing it to the brink, and a lot of us, a lot of folks don't remember that. Many folks weren't even really cognizantly alive. When I say cognizantly alive, they were kids back then, so they didn't really digest the fear that was happening from the 60s all the way out to the late 80s. And I mean, there was some major fear going on. Well, for them to say that today, that they haven't seen this type of fear since the Cold War, that means something's going on that they're not telling folks about. This is not something that we should go and be asleep about. So when you said, how does it impact us? It will impact us 10 times more. Like they always say, when United States sneezes, the world gets a cold, and black folks get COVID. Well, unfortunately, we're on ventilators because of the fact that they don't know how to manage this situation that's going on over in Russia right now. Russia is saying, look, no more. Russia is pretty much, after 9/11, you saw the Achilles heel get cut on Western, so-called European Western hegemony. Okay, the hegemony. They were the big balls on the block, and then you saw those 19 camel jockeys, play jackass with some planes, knock them into some buildings, and all of a sudden it weakened. You saw the Achilles heel get cut, and you saw it's like the Wiz. When Richard Pryor was behind the curtain and Toto grabbed the curtain. Well, now the weakness of the United States and its allies has been revealed. So Russia, China, these other nations who played Man Friday successfully said no more. They said, "Oh no, we now see that not only is your economy weak, but even your so-called the facade of your security is weak." So now all of a sudden you're seeing the culmination of desperation. United Snakes, I'm gonna tell y'all, stick a pin in this. They're getting more and more desperate. Okay, especially now that they see even their own can turn on them January 6th. They're getting so desperate that desperation is gonna fold over onto black folks. Remember when they were desperate over there on May 31st, 1925 or 1921? They were desperate in a place they called Oklahoma because they weren't, because black folks were doing quite well. And what did they do? They got desperate. They burned the town down. So they're turning the whole world into Black Wall Street. They're ready to burn the world down because of its desperation. And Russia and other nations are looking at this and seeing that this is going to happen. And so right now there's a lot of talking behind the scenes. Many of you guys aren't privy to, but when you've got Britain sending in anti-tank weapons like they did earlier last night, I did the video about it when they were sending it. Germany's online to go ahead and send in more anti-ballistic missile type things that they're getting from other nations. Canada just sent special forces in last night. United Snakes is going in there. They have already sent Patriots. Russia's now sent more missiles over into Belarus, and they've got more S-500s, not the S-400s, but the S-500s going into Belarus, pointed not at Ukraine, but pointed at Poland. So this thing is a desperation on crackers. So how does that affect us? Costs go up. Now that, like Brother Guy was talking, he said this really well about their dollar. Let me tell you what their dollar is. Since the so-called pandemic, they've printed so much money, i.e., I shouldn't say printed money, they've expanded balance sheets. That's the same thing. They also bought stocks. I'm talking their Fed, their government bought stocks, which is literally illegal, but they had no choice. And this is under Trump. They literally bought junk bonds, which they're not supposed to do, but they did anyways under Trump. They expanded balance sheets. They literally were printing $1 million every 15 seconds for months. And that's how much they've expanded. We're talking multi-trillions and trillions. Well, that money makes the dollar value, the dollar value, their dollar value was already low compared to what the fair market value of dollars should be. A dollar should be a dollar. It was actually trading like 23 cents before the pandemic. Well, once that thing happened, literally the dollar's worth nothing. But here's the kicker. Because of this inflation, because they've inflated some monetary inflation, plus now you've got supply chain inflation, you've had businesses that didn't even work for a year. So now all of a sudden they have to go in, their margins are compressed. Now all of a sudden, they're trying, and only the businesses you see around are the ones that can survive, even without PPP loans. So if you go downtown, most of the downtowns I've been to are really empty, especially like New York. I hear it's like totally, there's a lot of businesses that are not down there in Manhattan that should be. So what you're looking at is a desperation mode that's gonna impact us 50-fold. When Brother Guy talked about their dollar is literally trading at even though, let me tell you, the cost of the dollar is high. Now, I'm not saying that the dollar price is not high. The dollar price is higher than any other currency because of inflation and what they call tightening. They're doing raising interest rates, in other words. And anytime interest rates go up, it's like putting us back into slavery as Africans. I'm just telling y'all, we're going back to Jim Crow because interest rates are fixing to go up. And what do black folks have? They got revolving credit, they got credit cards, they got, and not only them, but the businesses we work for, since we don't have our own, need to get loans. So that means that the cost of labor is going to go up for them, which means that they're going to start firing black folks and bringing in immigrants because they could pay them a lot cheaper and there's no litigation. So the products that we buy from the store, that goes up. If you got to go to court, you're going to be paying because those prices have to go up too. Those fines, bills, fees, and if you want to get a lawyer, God bless you, because you're going to need the Charms Lucky Charm leprechaun to pay him off. So the thing is we suffer, Brother Forecast, on a magnitude that's so astronomical because of the fact that the value of the dollar is low, but the price of the dollar, if you're looking at the chart, the price of the dollar is high. And let me equate this real quick. Think of it as somebody selling you telling you they're selling you some Yeezys. And you're like, damn, okay, I'll buy these Yeezys. And they're like, look, man, these Yeezys are going to cost you $3,000 per shoe. And you're like, wow, cool. So you take those Yeezys home because the cost of the Yeezys are up. But then all of a sudden you wipe some of the, you're wiping something that looks like dust. And you see that the name, they kind of covered up the name. The names are really called Sleazies. And they were made over in China or somewhere in the Pongo Island. So you just paid something that was not, the value was not there, but the cost is up there. That's what's happening right now. and that's why we're about to get hit. But anyways, I'm gonna pass the mic. You know, I'm kind of loquacious. I'll pass the mic under you.
Yeah, it's all good. What's up, bro? And yeah, it's crazy. It seemed like everybody willing to do what it take but us. But yeah, brother Bakari and then Guy.
You know, when before MG2 spoke earlier, I had said something about the how you see Hispanic trucking companies. And what he said touched on what I was talking about. They have their own grocery stores and they have their own trucking companies to get their food and stuff where they need to go. Now, he said the Asians were struggling there, but here they have the same thing, right? Like they say, if they're hurting, everybody gonna look out for themselves first. That's the first law of nature. And with this tribal fight that they are about to have, trickle down effect, it's going to affect us. So what are we prepared to do? What are we prepared for? Are we prepared? Excuse me. Are we prepared or are we preparing to do anything? Are we preparing to make our situation easier or better? Or are we going to constantly sit back and rely on them? That's the $1 million question now. Are we prepared? Or are we preparing? That's what we need to be. We need to look at everything that's going on, this whole system. Take advantage of the things that we can take advantage of. He said that the dollar is losing power. That's what Guy mentioned. MG2 said, but it's still expensive or something like that. He said, I might not be. So we can't rely on their dollar. We can't rely on them to cut the invisible check. So it's time for us to look in the mirror and say, we're going to rely on us. If we don't see that the time is now, the time has been now, but right now at this moment, it's the time. And if we don't see that right now to make ourselves better, to build ourselves up, to put ourselves in a position where we can survive without asking somebody to make sure we survive, they're not the problem, we are. See, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do except one group of people. And that group of people is us. That group of people is us. Everybody else is doing what they're supposed to do. When are we going to look in the mirror and do what we're supposed to do? When are we as men, black men, going to lead the way? Play our role so our women can play their role, and we're working together as one and we're building ourselves up. With everything that go on, you have to look and see what we can do in this process to make ourselves better, to build ourselves up. I'll yield the mic because that's where I'm at right now. Brother Guy said he's back in the private chat. He fell off. He's in the private chat.
Brother Bakar, do you mind if I answer that for you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Because of the fact that, and I'm so glad Brother Guy said that. Think of it this way: the cost of the dollar goes up, which means if you want a loan, if you want to get a raise at your job, if you want to have more hours at your job, if you want to buy something at the store, that means that your dollar is not going to go very. It means it's going to cost you more to get that dollar. If you want a loan, you're going to have to pay a higher rate. That's the cost of a dollar. If you want to go ahead and have more hours, that means your employer has to pay you more, of course, or a raise. That means that the cost of that dollar is higher. They're not going to be able to do that. That's why I said that they're going to more than likely, hire some immigrants because the cost of money went up. But here's the funny thing, which is tragic and sad, and I'm not saying funny in a good way. It's that the value of that dollar is low. That means that that's what shrinkflation does. That means when you go out to the store, like Brother Forecast said, you got half a bag of something. So now all of a sudden, if you want to go get some money, or you want to get a loan, or you want to get something, you're paying high for something that doesn't have any value. And that's what they're situation they're having right now. Plus, they're facing, which might be a year, maybe a year and a half away, what is called stagflation. And stagflation is a good way of saying Armageddon. Okay, in today's world, depression used to be the word of Armageddon, but nowadays stagflation is pretty much tantamount to saying Armageddon. When you ask what will we do, Brother Bakari, how many black folk are you around that you talk to that you could say, what are your plans 2 years from now? Or better yet, 2 weeks from now? Or some folks, you can say, what are your plans 2 days from now? And many of us don't even go that far. And then all of a sudden, when a stagflation hits a year in 3 quarters from now, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? The thing is first and foremost, is do whatever you can to almost live a year ahead of what you're doing right now. At least think a year ahead of what you're right now. There's a guy I knew, European, and I've known him quite well. I've known him for damn near 30 years. He told me, he says, anything you see me doing now, I planned a year ago. I'm just living the moment. Now, this guy has a bank account that's probably rivals anyone you've probably seen in terms of a celebrity on TV. You could get 3 of your top celebrities and put their bank accounts together, and they could probably get close to what he pays for lunch. And he told me that, I mean, I remember when he was living in a truck, and now he's not in a bad shape. I'll just put it that way. But he said, anything you see me do, I planned a year ago, at least a year ago. I'm just living the moment. And I was like, wow. That's one of the things that a lot of our folks might want to start looking. I'm not saying you got to do it. We're gonna got to. I'm saying you might want to look at something like that. That might help. The other thing is, and I've been trying to do this, and I got to tell you, this quote unquote pandemic has helped me out so tremendously. Because what I mean by that is, of course, I'm in the music biz, and I've been traveling and touring with just about every artist you guys know of. But the thing is, there had not been any music. I did a few TV shows last year. I do a couple of things here and there. But it wasn't like being on the road. So what I did is I said, let me learn one skill that I have to pay somebody else to do. That's one thing that a lot of our folks don't do, because what happens when we get social media and we get beefs and we've got the Negroes talking about, manospheres, or, I don't like Pan-African, or, whatever nonsense. The thing is they're not into learning skill. They're into learning their egos. So what I did is I said, irrespective of how much I may joke or clown or piss off black folks, whatever, my thing is I'm going to tell everybody I'm learning a skill. I'm going to do one thing that I didn't do before. And one of those skills, which is kind of crazy, is baking bread. And when I saw the prices of bread before the supply chain and inflation issues, a loaf of bread, I mean, you could probably get it at your local, dollar store and it'd be okay. But now you can't even do that. So, like, what it would cost $2 or $3 to make a loaf of bread, I can make for 30 cents. And that taught me, I said, well, let me learn that skill. My other skill, which I've done years ago, was a lot of carpentry. So I started getting more into the carpentry. Why? Because, and this is why I love what Erica Howard's doing. Any skill that you have, you can monetize. I don't care what it is. If you have, that's what had happened. We got too comfortable with free money. Free. When I say free money, I'm not talking about somebody just handing us cash. It's that we had more time that we could leisure on social media nonsense, on celebrity nonsense, on going to the club, or things that don't matter. That's free money. Instead of learning a skill when that money goes out, because any skill you have, you can monetize. If you grow something, how to shell peas, you can monetize that. You can turn that into something that somebody needs, and then therefore all of a sudden, boom. So one of the other skills, of course, is in the financial world, where I can actually tell folks and advise, hey, this is what I do. Hey, you got an account. A lot of folks that I'm on the road with don't even know the first thing about how to put their money away. So I just said, look, you could trade it here, you could trade it there. You can monetize even consulting. You can monetize, do it like Blue is doing, consulting. You can monetize whatever and that's one of the more important things right now, because you have what's called a great resignation. Folks saw the reality of life, and it's mortal. They saw the mortality in terms of, when I say they saw their mortality, is they say, hey, life ain't forever, and they saw that out of this pandemic. So a lot of folks are like, look, why am I going to go to a 9 to 5 and have to go through all this bull when, if I kick the bucket tomorrow, I'd be hating life that I didn't go out and do this and go out and do that. So a lot of folks are just resigning, or at least not going back to work like they used to. What they're doing, they're monetizing another passion or a skill or something else they did and turning that into something and saying, look, if I got to eat ramen noodles for the next year and I can only pay my light bill every other month, I'm gonna monetize this thing I've been dreaming of all my life instead of working for Schmid Lamke Barfington and being and hating life every day. And, I'll go ahead and suffer for a year, but I know I'm gonna make it through this. You're gonna see. I mean, that is something I keep telling folks. Whatever you do, monetize a skill. I don't care how you do it. Something that you had to pay someone else to do for you in the past. If it's electronics, if it's car fixing, mechanics, if it's sewing clothes, if it's cleaning your window washing, whatever, baking bread, whatever it is that you had to pay someone else for, learn it, and then that way somebody will pay you for it. But I'll pass the mic on that.
Yeah, I agree with that, brother Guy.
Yeah, I agree with MG2 and Brother Bakari. And I always say this, sometimes if you are working, if you are doing a 9 to 5, just put something away, even if it's $5 every time you get paid. You know what I'm saying? That's another idea I always say, just put something to the side, have, put in, have a savings account. Just, throw, maybe every time you get paid, just throw $20 in it. And just do that until you retire, you know what I'm saying? And most likely you should have a nice stack of cash to, for emergency reasons or something, you know what I'm saying? And I notice what they do too. I don't know if you ever get letters, like these credit card letters to they say, oh, you're pre-approved. What happens in America, United States, they want to keep you in debt. And that's the thing. That's the thing about United States. They want you to they want to keep you in debt to the point where, they can harass you, they can bully you, they could take away your, to the point they might take away your home, you know what I'm saying? And that's how they get you. They want to keep you, they want you to go bankrupt, which is never good too, you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing I noticed too. They just want to keep you, and that's why if you notice, you got people who got like 3 or 4 credit cards, but they're in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like you supposed to at least have 1 credit card, and you supposed to not use it. You don't, unless you got money to pay it back, but you just use it when it's needed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I think that when it comes out of credit, you got to be really responsible for that, because when you pay your bills with your credit card, they add interest. You know what I'm saying? So you pay, just say if your bill is like $100, the credit card would charge you I don't know, like $5. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they keep you in debt. So so that's what I do notice. If you pay, like especially if you paying it through. Let me say this: when you pay your credit card through something, you know what I'm saying, like Venmo or whatever like that. I know they'll charge you a fee. So and then you got maintenance fees and all that stuff if you don't pay your bill. I mean, it's just, and that sometimes they will charge you $35 if you don't pay at a certain time. So the interest will, to add on your, it's just crazy. So we got to be careful. We got to be smart. We got to be responsible, and we got to know the game, man. Because it's like that's what the United States trying to do. They want to put you in this debt bondage somehow, where you end up losing everything, everything that you worked hard for. And I agree. You learn the skill. You look. There's so much you can learn on YouTube. But people use YouTube as a tool, like brother MG2 said, use it for beefs and all this stupid nonsense, and I don't like this group, or all this hate groups. Excuse me. That's what they are. It's just a bunch of hate groups hating on black people. Black people is the number one attack. If it's not the Ku Klux Klan, it's not the neo-Nazi. Now you got the FBA, you got the ADOS, you got the indigenous folks, and everybody's hating on Africa or Africans. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're home or abroad. You know what I mean? So we are under attack. We are under attack by people that look like us. We are under attack by the white extremists. We are under attack by the United States government. We are under attack. So I would say, like I agree, learn a skill and make money, and try to make money off of it the best way you can. Try to be the best seller as possible, because you gotta know a skill. You gotta know something, even as cooking or sewing, or just something simple, something that to me it should be second nature. Something that it should be something that you should learn in school. And I think that's another thing about the school system. They don't teach you things that people do on an everyday basis. They don't teach you about law. So just in case you get locked up, or if a cop stop you, it's just a simple stuff. The school systems, they don't teach you that. There should be a class from the time you go to school and the time you graduate from high school, and even in college. They should have, I won't even say college, because they do have law and all that, but I'm just talking about the time you go to school from first grade all the way to the time you get to high school. So that way, by the time you go to college, you can say, well, you know what? I like law. Let me get into that. Or I like engineering. Let me get into that. So you already prepared. So it's going to be more easier for you and more simple. Even though college might be a little advanced, but you have a foundation. You have a foundation. So you're not going to worry about struggling, or damn, are you afraid that you might have to drop out of a class because it's complicated. You see what I'm saying? So I just think that, the school system also have failed us too. So we got to keep that in mind. They don't even teach you the basics of people do every day. And that's the problem. So we got to train ourselves. We got to teach ourselves. And like I said, we got to learn from each other. We got to learn from each other, even when it comes down to computers or whatever it might be. And I tell people, don't be selfish when it comes to, if your people ask you questions. Even when it comes on the job, if you got your own people say, hey, can you put a good word for me? Because I want to get away from this with my position to get into, what you're into. I want to learn what you know, so I can work with you. It's just things that we can do to work together, and we can be unified. I think that's part of being unified. When we teach each other and show each other, because we all we got at the end of the day. People, and I want to say this lastly, because like you said, you got all these black hate groups, and they they always talk about Africa, but they're going to depend on it. But these are the same black people they're going to end up depending on. Think about that. They're going to end up depending on the same black people that they claim they hate. Because at the end of the day, if they got food and they got access to food, or they got access to some sort of resources, guess what? They're gonna be begging for these people to help them. Because they're gonna be by themselves. Because most of these black hate groups, They do not have no skills. Because they've been so focused on hating another black people or hating on other black people, they forgot they don't even focus on teaching themselves how to survive. So they're gonna have to depend on that Pan-African. They're gonna have to depend on that African brother or that Caribbean brother or sister, which are Pan-Africans too. So they're gonna depend on the Pan-African and they're gonna depend on the Africans for survival. Because because that's who they can relate to. So I mean, we got to think about these things, on a big scale, because it is, we see it happening. We see the change happen, and it's not for the better. And I yield the mic.
Yeah, man, yo, I appreciate all y'all brothers for giving this information. And I know it probably ain't a lot of people watching and commenting and stuff like that, because we ain't on here calling each other the N-word and cussing each other out and arguing and all that stuff. But there's a lot of good information, you know. And you know, there's one more thing I want to talk about. And you mentioned you mentioned that about you know, y'all mentioned a lot of stuff, but pretty much when we talk about like debt bondage, you know, like, because that's one thing that we got to understand about America. Because when I say that America is like a corporation, it's a business, you know, and they operate like a business. It's not about love, it's not about hate or nothing like that. And we got to understand that they are taking our tax money and paying these other countries. They are in debt to, you know what I'm saying, China, like most countries are, you know, at this point in time. And when you are on the same part, when you're on the same team or on the same level or whatever, and Tommy Cool Out, you can come on here if you want to, you know what I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure you're not, but you can come on here if you got something to say, you know what I'm saying, because if people want to troll, then I want to get down to the bottom of it and see why you trolling, so you know what I'm saying, we can make an example whichever way it is, you know. But anyway, like, when it comes down to it, we got to understand what real life is, right? When China roll up in Africa, you know, they can just be like, yo, and what? We ain't giving you nothing if they want to. But see, the reason why people don't even think that way is because we don't got no military. But every diss that we have for each other, you know what I'm saying, for the other side is a diss to ourselves. And we don't even realize that. And the thing is, right, I know a sister because I met so many people on here that doing so many interesting things, because it's crazy how when you have a certain energy, you attract a certain thing, you know, and we don't even focus on that because we so worried about what the person is not going to do instead of the people that's already doing the things that they need to do and you doing what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So I know somebody right now who have a farm and they talking about doing like co-opting ideas to where people put their money together and we can be able to feed each other. But you know what? The hatred is so strong amongst ourselves that she can't get black people to cooperate. They say, no, that's never going to work. We're never going to be able to do that, blah, blah, blah. And it don't even matter because they could have been one person who just contributed and they got what they got. And it don't matter what nobody else do. But that's that fear talking where you don't want to actually stand up to the issue, because guess what, like it is true, like you can go to the UN or anything, America is going to be like, yo, and what are you going to do about it, and what, make me, you know what I'm saying? That's at the end of the day, we forget what real life is because it's almost like we live in a fantasy world, like, you know, this isn't real life where people can make decisions and do what they have to do, but you have to be willing to stand on it. We ain't willing to stand on the stuff that we talking about. And you know, this sister is a more, you know, in her ideology, but she's willing to put her ideology aside when it comes to feeding black people globally. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't be against somebody from Haiti. She wouldn't be against somebody from Africa when it comes to business. You don't have to identify as nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's just your issues and your drama wanting to play out and not address the real issue, because all of these other groups, they're not on here dissing each other, or they are, you know what I'm saying, but they are able to have businesses, you know, like Asian people aren't going to be like, oh, you're Japanese, you're Chinese, you're Korean, you're whatever. No, you're Filipino. They have their own issues in between, but guess what? When it says stop Asian hate, they're not going to say we exclude Filipinos. No, stop Asian hate, period. You know what I'm saying? We are the group that separates ourselves, because I mean, at the end of the day, we got beat up, and we seen that what it's like to be black. It means you could get shot down in the street and nobody do nothing. But that's only because we don't want to accept the fact that we are who we are, and we stand up for that, you know, because the minute that you do, then it's a wrap. I remember on Bakari's show, a sister had an idea, and Bakari had an idea himself about like the trailer parks and stuff like that. Like the homeless, all the homeless people in Atlanta, you know, people can put their money together. I see here Mexicans paying like $300 living in the trailer parks, all living together, but they're building their stuff, they're building their community. Do they have issues? Do they have domestic violence problems? Do they shoot and kill each other? Do they have gangs? Do they have problems with their school? They got all that stuff, but they are able to put aside their differences when a black man roll up in that trailer park. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference between us and other groups. French and British have their beef. You know, Ukraine and Russia have their beef. But when it comes to a Negro rolling up, crossing the border between Ukraine and Russia, you know what I'm saying, talking about USSR, they're gonna be like, nigga, get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? And we are the only group of people who do not do that. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of stuff that we have ideas about. You know, a sister on Bakari's show was talking about apartments where people, you know what I'm saying, put their money together. I can't say our idea like she said it, but we all got our ideas that we can do. But it's, you know, we are more drawn to calling each other the N-word and arguing on here as opposed to doing the things. But now, you know what I'm saying, and I named it the Hunger Games because now you about to be hungry. Are you still going to be out here beefing with each other, or are you going to be willing to put aside your differences to, you know what I'm saying, be able to eat? But yo, brother Bakari, and then MG2, and then Guy.
Look, man, everything you hold on. Something we talk about, what you say, they look like it's almost like a minstrel show on YouTube, the way we carry on.
Yeah, we might as well put on blackface and like makeup and
May as well. They are these people, they're about to go to war with one another over there in the USSR. That's what I call it. I still call it the USSR, right? They about to go to war over there. But as soon as because they're fighting to get stuff in order. And as soon as their war is over, or in the process of their war, black people get in the way, you know what we would be to those people. You understand? But we ain't figured out that we need to stop carrying on that way toward ourselves. Because like you said, it's like we may as well put on the makeup and what it was, Jim Crow, wasn't that the name of it? Ain't that's what he did? Jump Jim Crow, something to that effect. The Jewish dude during the minstrel show, because that's who did all the minstrel shows with Jews. The lipstick, the big red lipstick, and the makeup, the way we act. Yeah.
The Jews and the Irish.
One guy told another black guy, N-word, I'll stab you in your chest. N-word, I'll come see you. We need to start the boxing. It's just so much. But it's almost as if, and you know I don't use this term, forecast. People on here know I don't use it. Talking about white supremacy or whatever, right? We use their talking points toward ourselves more than they do. In all honesty, we do it. We do it more than anybody. We do. We use their talking points and their ideas toward us more than anybody. We want to defeat us. We want to keep us at the bottom. And once we are constantly arguing and cursing and bickering at one another, calling one another the N-word over and over and over in these so-called YouTube streets, as they call it, then we look and say, well, it's white supremacy that did it. White supremacy. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. The white supremacy did it. But once again, it's to where we don't want to take what is it? Accept responsibility for the things that we have done. And we are in a situation right now. You name this, the Hunger Games, with no food on those shelves, no mode of communication. And by the way, I have a show coming up. Electricity, everything gonna be gone. I'm gonna do a show on how to run your light. You can burn a lamp in a microwave using a marine battery. But with everything that's going on right now, we still just looking to fight one another. But we're about to starve. MG2 explained it. I explained it. I'm talking about the trucking. I'm talking about how food and stuff is getting back and forth. And we see everybody have something in place to make sure their people is taken care of, except one people. And when I say this, it tends to bother y'all. Yes, Erica Howard, you did. We are too focused on reparations. That's why I don't have that conversation. We are too focused on they owe us, they owe us. What do we owe us? What do we love our ancestors? What do we owe our ancestors? What do we owe them? Huh? We say they owe us. What do we owe us? What do we owe our ancestors? To sit and complain about what they did? They were in a worse situation than we are, supposedly. Right? Than we are right now. But they didn't stop building. They didn't stop trying. They didn't stop. They owe us. They owe us. They owe us. They giving to everybody else, but won't give to us. We're not their children. As Howard Wolf said, why he got to give us something? He ain't your daddy. But that's what we act like. We act like the stepchild is upset because the biological parent gave something to, is given to the Afghan, is given to the Latinos, is given to, and has constantly given, and they're gonna always give to those people. That's just what it is. Because all those people are the same. So when are we gonna stop complaining about what hasn't been given to us and look in the mirror and start to give ourselves? I'll yield the mic.
Yeah, facts. MG2.
Yeah, it was something that Brother Guy brought up earlier in terms of what schools and sisters, if you have this, I know a lot of sisters here remember this. We used to clown people back in the day when they took this as a course. It's called home ec. Never more important in life is home ec as it is right now. Home ec used to be one of those, like when I was in school, I went to metal shop and I was in wood shop. And, that was like, hey, that's where the stoners were at, it was like, yeah, we're going to make this, that. And we used to laugh at, a lot of the guys that would go to home ec. And like, dude, what are you going to home ec for? That's for women. Never more is it more important right now. That's the most important skill you could have. Home ec was not just baking and sewing clothes. To me, home ec encompasses anything that has to do with your life where you're living at home. That means fixing a car, plumbing, electrical work, that fixing cabinets, making sure that you know how to not only just clean clothes but actually sew them. And when Brother Guy brought that up, I mean, I'll never forget those days. We used to just laugh when folks would go to home ec. I'm kicking myself for all the things I didn't learn, and that's something they don't even have in schools, as far as I know. They don't even have that or metal shop in schools anymore. But those are the things that are going to keep us alive. And what had happened, the moment that they went ahead and manufactured convenience, in other words, we could buy whatever we want. Why should we learn how to make something? If I want a fork, I'll just go out and buy it. Why should I learn to make one? If I need something else, I don't need, I might need new socks. Why should I go ahead and learn how to darn socks when I can just go to the Target and get some? Once they did that, then a lot of skills that were necessary for times when you will be going into a depression are needed. And, when you go to stagflation, those skills are not only needed, but it's the only thing that's going to save your life. There's folks, Brother Forecast, Brother Guy, and Brother Bakari, there are women and men out there that I know that don't even know how to make tea. They have problems boiling water. Then I saw a sister the other day, and she's a wonderful sister. I saw her channel, and she was just going through a nightmare trying to bake bread. I'm like, whoa. I mean, my mom, my grandma, that was like a rite of passage. You know, you couldn't get up in the morning unless you knew how to cook. And I remember when my little brother, this is how when I'm talking about home ec skills, my little brother was 4 years old. Now, we come from a family where we got beat, and I'm not talking about spanking. We got beat. I got beat with the turkey spit. My brother got his lip split when my dad punched him in his face. This is the life we had. My little brother was 4 years old. My dad was really into making sure when my mom slept, because we had 7 kids in the house. When my mom slept, if you made a noise, you're gonna pay for it. My little brother, never forget this. He was 4 years old, and he woke my mom up to make some cream of wheat, and that was the big thing back in the 70s. That's my baby brother. Back in the 70s, cream of wheat. You definitely had to wake up for that, and then later on it was breakfast squares. So what had happened is he woke my mom up. He was only 4, but he woke my mom up and said, he needed her to make him some cream of wheat with a little bit of sugar and butter in it. My dad got up and beat him savagely with the belt buckle and says, "How dare you wake up the queen of the house? You should have known how to make that at 4." And I can understand why. I mean, shoot, the first time I got kicked out the house, I was 14 and I had my apartment. My brother, he left the house at 13. My sister at 16. I left again at 17. My other brother at 15. And that's what it was like. You had your first apartment at 14. That was what it was like in our house. You had to work a job and go to school. That's just what it was. So the thing is that home ec, that skill. Now I'm not saying that you got to go and beat a 4-year-old, but I'm saying that it was a thing of self-reliance and depending on yourself that has not been taught for decades. Any child nowadays, I'm telling you, you could roll up to any sisters around there and ask them to go boil some vegetables, and they'll say, "No, I got a microwave. Why should I have to do that?" And don't even ask your brother because he wouldn't even know. He's like, "I'm going to McDonald's for my vegetables." That's what happened with manufactured convenience. And in these times, because of the fact that we've lost the aspect of home ec, that's just very simple. Then it's no wonder that we don't have the self-reliance that we had back in the day, because we had to go and make our own stuff. We had no other choice. When when you were talking about what's going on, Brother Bakari, in terms of the Soviets, i.e. I still call them Soviets, even though it's just supposed to be Russia. It's always going to be Soviets to me. To give you guys kind of an idea, the Peckerwoods right now have a full plate. They have a really big plate. They have a plate not only just because of the pandemic, they got a plate because now they've got their own children, i.e. January 6th, fixing to overthrow what's left of their so-called government. They have a full plate because their economy is in the toilet, yet they're trying to tell you how good things are going. When good things are going, and they have to raise the cost of interest rates, and it's not because of good things are going, it's because of supply issues and the cost of money goes up, then you got some problems, especially during a so-called Great Resignation, where they're telling you job numbers are going up every year, but yet how can that happen with a Great Resignation? And they're saying that there's all these jobs out there. Again, there's so much duplicity coming out of them that they're having a lot of issues. So the Peckerwoods got a full plate. Now you're talking about the full plate with China. Okay, they've got a full plate over there and trying to manage China, and China's telling them, look, kiss us where the sun don't shine. Then you've got this thing, and I'm gonna give you some headlines. I go to a lot of these international, just to give me kind of a basis, that these are very expensive news wires. So a lot of them I don't have like I used to. I mean, some of these news wires are like $300 a month. I'm not going to pay that for a news wire because I can get the same information somewhere else. Some of the other ones were like $3,000 a month, and they used to give it to me for free. But those guys don't exist in their current form. I never will pay anything like that for a news wire. But just to give you some ideas, one of them that came out a little earlier is Biden says Putin has never seen sanctions like the one the U.S. is preparing now over Ukraine. Anytime that they go out and sanction another country, you know why Japan hit Pearl Harbor? A lot of folks don't recognize, because a lot of them are not historians. Japan was sanctioned into the dirt. They couldn't even get fresh water. It wasn't just about that. They couldn't get oil from Britain. They couldn't get, remember, Japan's an island. And because the United States is in such desperation, They could sanction Japan, and you saw how how Japan kicked that ass in Pearl Harbor. Sanctioning Russia, if Russia gets desperate and something gets out of hand, it might not go nuclear, but you might not be able to go ahead and turn on your water because somebody hacked your water grid. You might not be able to turn on your lights, and you have to flush your toilet by having a bucket because now your entire water pumping system for that city doesn't work anymore. Your medical records might not, or even your bank account might not be your bank account anymore. And there's nothing they can do about it, except for maybe put price controls and everything and try to go ahead and, try to go ahead and save themselves from riots. Anything can happen when you have a desperation. That's the desperation. In other words, like Brother Forecast said, how does this affect black folk? We're in the midst of a Cat 5 hurricane right now, and a lot of folks are out there with an umbrella saying, oh, it's just a spring rain. No, this thing can turn ugly and turn ugly fast because we have not learned the basics of even how to boil water and do vegetables. Not even learning how to sew a sock or how to go ahead and wash your windows. Because, oh, no, I'll just get Gomez to do it. Oh, no, convenience has hurt us. And I'll give you another headline. Russia said this earlier today. Russian missiles in Cuba and Venezuela. They said that, hey, we're not opposed to going ahead and putting missiles down there. They said that today. Now, and that's not really that's just blustering. That's just like, well, I'm going to beat my chest because you beat your chest. But anytime there's a term, and all of us black folks should know, and I'm sure we heard it before, a pimp announces the game. And Russia's announcing a game. Before that girl turns tricks, the pimp is going to announce the game. And right now I see a girl getting ready to turn some tricks, and it's not going to be for the better. Better yet, I'll even give you a better headline. And this is from another news wire. It says, Russia dumps $900 million more in U.S. treasuries. The total investment hits a historic low. Let me tell you what treasuries are. Think of treasuries in terms of a loan, okay? But it's a loan. It's like when somebody's getting asking you, or if somebody's getting a loan, or you're getting a loan from someone, Russia going ahead buying treasuries like China and everybody else is loaning the United States money. When they dump those treasuries, the value of those treasuries as well as the costs go through the floor. When treasuries go through the floor, what goes up? Interest rates. You saw interest rates in the last couple of days soar like they've never soared before. That's just in the last couple of days. Right now, it's through the roof. And remember, whenever the cost of money goes up, everything you pay for, everything you think, if you're going to flush your toilet, you're paying more for that water. My gas bill was damn near double, and I didn't even use it as much. Everything you pay for, when interest rates go up, if you live in a house, everything you do, including opening the door, is going to cost you 20 to 30% more just walking outside. The fact that Russia just said, hey, we're just going to dump these treasuries, that's only $1 billion. That's telling you, and they said 900 million more. So that's just telling you things are about to ramp up into a form where it's going to hurt black folks. Remember, when United Snake sneezes, black folks get COVID. If they go ahead and continue to push this foolishness, United Snakes will get COVID and black folks will be in the grave because we have not learned the basics. Just simple basics of just self-reliance. What had happened is a lot of our folks, brothers, have gotten, like I said, what I call free money is convenience. And there's a formula I put out there for everyone to learn. It's a very simple mathematical formula. Even if you don't know math, you know this. This is what happened to us. Convenience breeds comfort, which breeds complacency, which breeds laziness, which is a disease that poverty soon overtakes. Everything was given to us, convenient. We got Netflix. You don't even have to walk outside. Most folks don't even work out. I'm out there working out all day. Fortunately, I saw a couple of brothers do it. They want to work out. They just watch somebody on YouTube. Everything you can get can be brought to you. Uber Eats. You could get whatever you want without leaving your house. There's a lot of black folks that use this instead of going out and doing it themselves. So with their convenience, it breeds comfort. Oh man, I could just sit at Netflix and chill. That was the words everybody talked for damn near a year. Oh man, I'm just Netflix and chill. Not I'm going to build a business and chill. Not I'm going to learn a new skill and chill. Not I'm going to go ahead and learn a new language or a new way to make a stream of income and chill. Not I'm going to go ahead and teach my children how to do something that they can go ahead and learn and monetize their skill and chill. It was I'm just going to watch Netflix and chill. Okay, whatever. So that brings comfort, which breeds complacency. More black folk I know that I talk to, I'm like, what is your specialty? What do you do? Well, man, I just work over here. I say, well, no, not where you're working at. What do you do? What is your skill? What is your passion? What is the thing you want to do in life? Man, I just want to go ahead. I got a little brother that's like that. Okay, my little brother's in his mid-50s, my baby brother now. And the same one that got beat when he was 4, he's in his mid-50s. And we get to talking for the longest time. And I'm like, what legacy do you have? What do you want to do? Man, I just want to retire. I've been working over here with the airline forever. I don't have time for learning nothing. I just want to go ahead, sit back, have a nice cigar, and drink my. That's complacency. Because here's what no other race has done, but only black folks. And remember, convenience breeds comfort, which breeds complacency, which breeds next thing is laziness. And laziness is a disease that poverty soon overtakes. So what happens is our folks are like, no, I just want to Netflix and chill. I got my Uber Eats. I'm here. I got the game. I don't want to go out and do nothing, man. Complacent. You don't want to go out and work out. You don't want to do anything. You don't even want to walk down the street. So what happens is we get a little lazy, and we have to hire Gomez, who just got over the border, so that way he can fix our plumbing, or hire that Eastern European to go in and fix our appliance, or hire that Asian to go ahead and make us something that we need, whether it's food or something, or we need a cell phone from or whatever. So what happens is when the inflation hits, or when the jobs go out and they start hiring other folks, or say a stagflation or something crazy happens, or maybe a global pandemic, or it could be anything. Next thing, we got black folks out in the streets going, what are we going to do? Well, cut us a check. We need reparations. Look at what they did. I mean, we can't do it because I'm ADOS and no, they just live that formula that I told everyone. They got complacent, they got convenience, comfort, complacent, lazy, and then all of a sudden now it's like, what are we going to do? What do we got? Man, they owe us, man. This Asian lives matter, man. This racist Asian bill, and they ain't doing this for us, and we ain't got, and they ain't got, and you're a Pan-African, and you ain't this. It's a foregone conclusion. And we're living that conclusion right now. There's nothing, I mean, this is not just facts, this is the record. Okay, you just go online and you can hear, just look at the black folks record. Are we talking about building things online in terms of even knowing how to cook, how to sew, how to clean, how to manufacture something, how to learn a new language, how to learn a new skill? Anyone teaching anyone math? Anyone teaching anyone language? Anyone teaching anyone English? How to clean a stove, whatever. Little tips, little things like there. Anybody teach? All we see online is things that make our egos feel good. But I'm not mad. I'm like, hey, okay, if that's what we want, cool. But that formula is going to exist, and it's coming. It's coming, folks. I'm gonna tell y'all, it's coming. The hell is on its way to our doorstep in a way none of you guys have seen before, because many of you are too young, and a way that none of you are going to be able to manage. I'm telling y'all, stick a pin in this, black folk. Hell is on its way. Something wicked this way cometh. And I'm trying to just give us the information. While I'm breathing, I'm trying to give you whatever I can. Learn, do, manage, create, and compete. Because it's about to get brutal in a way none of you can even imagine. Anyways, I'm going to pass the mic on that one.
All right, yeah, thank you, MG2. Yeah, brother Guy, you want to go in, my brother?
Yeah, MG2 just pretty much summed it up. We have to prepare ourselves, with all this. Everybody want to act like they're on a Maury show. All this little stupid ass drama. All this threatening and calling each other the N-word, and it just become almost like a reality show, on YouTube. Nobody's not talking about investing. There's no, like I said, you go to these white channels, they always showing you what they doing. They always showing you about, hell, even when it comes out of the Bitcoin and their channels are growing, they're flourishing. Only time our channels are flourishing unless we got beef with each other. You know, something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that. And I think that's the problem, because we don't even support each other. If somebody got a huge platform, they don't share our videos. And you know, we become selfish on that. You know, they don't share our videos where they can they can share their supporters. You know, it's simple things like that shows that, you know, the vision, you know, and show that we don't have it together. You know, we still talking about what happened in the '60s and Jim Crow and all that stuff, but we're in a new we in a whole new Jim Crow. We are a whole new Jim Crow. We still in what they call segregated places. You know what I'm saying? You know, look at the foods that we eat. You know, look at the supermarkets compared to white supermarkets. You know what I'm saying? You know, redlining still exists. So, you know, I don't really see a difference, because we're still fighting for the same damn thing. You know, like voting oppression and stop police brutality and all this other stuff. We still fighting the same thing. So why are people still talking about the '60s? You know what I'm saying? So you'll think that we'll come up with new strategies to support each other. You know, and again, it's always, you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see Adolf's fighting for reparation. I don't see that. I don't see them going out there and getting petitions and coming together and say, look, we need to force the government to you know, they're not going to the UN, they're not doing anything to try to fight for their reparations. They're sitting up on YouTube complaining, and because they want a handout. It becomes almost like a handout, because they got so used of white people and yellow people and brown people, you know, feeding them like children. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't know how. I think a lot of our people don't even know how to do for self. They don't. They don't, because they got so used of being babied. They don't know how to grow up and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna go get a skill. You know, and you got a lot of old dummies. A lot of old dummies. You know, and the only thing they can say, well, I hate Africa. I don't like Africa. And instead of just learning from it and say, okay, this is what my people did, so let me build on that. Let me connect with my people. Let me go over there and reconnect with my people. Let me buy some land over there. Let me do business. Let me invest in this. And it's so much that we can do, but it's a lot of. It's every time when we talk about big things, you're always gonna have this block. Like I said, I can't even blame white people no more. I can't even say, oh, white man's doing this and white man's doing that. They are literally paying black people to stop us. And this is facts. They've been doing that for a long time. This is nothing new. They've always been paying black people to talk about another black person, to stop them. Or if they see a black man coming up, they will set them up, ruin their reputation, or even go as far as killing them. I mean, this is what we are up against. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Nothing. So we got to really start knowing who's who. We're going to have to do some background checks. We're going to have to find out if this person is solid. This person is serious. You know what I'm saying? because you got a lot of black people. They play a lot of games, or they act like they for the cause, and they're not really for the cause, or you try to talk serious with them, but they want to talk about they want to go to the club or just nonsense, just a lot of nonsense, just a lot of goofy stuff, you know what I'm saying, that they do nowadays. We don't even support each other as far as like clothing. You got black people out there making clothes. You got black people that are feeding our people. You got black people are clothing our people, but we don't support them. We'll keep saying, "Oh, black people, we don't clothe our people. We don't," but that they do. They do. They're out there. So when you see black people say, "Look, I'm making this. I'm doing this. I'm doing that," support, support, support. Promote, promote, promote. They want to hate on them, and then you want to know why they can't come up. They can't come up strong, but you still supporting Nike. You still going to, you still support Versace and all this other stuff, Gucci. And a lot of these celebrities and all that, they came from the gutter. They came from the hood. But what they do with their money, they marry it right back to the oppressor that they claim they claim that that's oppressing them. That's another thing I don't understand that. But then they want to talk about racism. They want to talk about oppression. But then they don't put their money into the cause. Say, look, I'll make my money. Let me invest into a business let me connect with other black people. Let me connect with other celebrities, and so let's build and let's flip this around. Now we got money now. We making millions now. You know what I'm saying? So so that's a whole other. Now you got the church and you got the mosque. They making billions of dollars, and they not putting it. So it's all this exploitation, just robbing black people. And we're not talking about just a little having Sunday dinners for the people and feeding the people. We talking about creating businesses, man. Something that would stick. Not something that you do once a year or every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot that our people are, that it's a lot that we can do, but we're not doing it. But we sitting there and if we talk about it, we can't. It's like to the point we can't even talk about it now. We can't even discuss it because you might end up getting killed or shot. Because now you ruin now you forcing them, or now you messing up their money now. These people are no different than a drug dealer. They're no different. So we can, like I said, we can change this thing overnight. So we don't have to discuss. We don't have to keep talking about this broken record every day. We see what's going on. We see it on the news. We don't know what Joe Biden is doing. You notice you don't see this dude speaking of anything, but they'll have you thinking he's doing all this great work, but you don't see him doing one damn speech. One damn speech. I haven't seen this man did one speech of what's going on. Or his plans, or what he's working on. I just noticed certain things. Something's weird about that. But 80% of black people voted for this dude. We are voting our oppression, and then we complain about it when we end up with nothing. Oh well, damn, we did it. What happened to Barack Obama? Oh, bro, I voted for Barack Obama. He didn't do nothing for black people. Now we're gonna hear that for Biden. Watch. Well, I voted for Biden, and he didn't do nothing for us. Same old thing. And then when another president saying that I'm not going to do nothing for you black people. Oh, but I'm going to vote for him because I just don't want no Republican in office. But you know he's not going to do for nothing for black people. I don't give a goddamn. I'm going to vote for him anyway because I just don't want that guy in office. I've heard it. So again, like I said, I agree with everybody. I agree with Forecast. I agree with everybody on this panel said some great points about gaining skills. You know, we got to promote. We got to really, we got to do for self. We got to be a self. And I've been saying this for long. We got to be a selfish race. We got to be a selfish race. We got to cut all this coonery. And when we talk about topics, and that's the reason why our channel is growing. It's not growing fast enough, but I think it's growing because people are getting tired of the same old rhetoric, the same old fighting, the same old. People want to learn, but like, you know what? I'm tired of this because it's the same old thing. They making the same redundant videos. You know, the same old arguing, the same old beefs, and the same old. You know what I'm saying? Like they not, you know. So people are saying, you know what? Let me go to these brothers and see what they talking about. And it becomes refreshing because we giving black people that medicine that they need. They're not eating that same junk food. And I see what's going on. I go to these, you know, sometimes you go to these little deli stores and a little bag of tater. There's a bag of tater that used to cost $1, now it's cost $2. Just for a bag of a bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? So the inflation is real. You know what I'm saying? The inflation is real. So we gotta really, really do our homework, and we gotta be focused. We gotta keep our eyes on the prize because this is not going nowhere. Like black people, I tell black people, you think things have changed. You think, oh, racism is over and we all should unify. Yeah, you keep thinking that. It's getting worse. All this trying to, if we unify with white folks and we unify with all races and we just be one happy big race or whatever, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And I think Brother McCarr in Forecast or MG2 said. He said when things pop off, they're gonna look after their own. They're not gonna be looking at it. They're gonna say, oh, but what about the black Americans? We gotta look at them. They're gonna be thinking about they ain't gonna be thinking about no black Americans. They're gonna be thinking about them and their families and their people. And that's what that is going to happen when shit go down. We on our own, and black people going to have to recognize it. And that's the bottom line. Now you're the mic.
All right. Yeah, and God, and by the way, too, God, they be lying about our channels. Our channels are growing more than we think. More people be watching than we think. They be lying about the numbers, all of that. We did a show about YouTube, and you know, and of course they do the shadow banning. So where, you know, the premieres that I do, people was actually sharing them because people think like, oh, black people don't share positivity or listen. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that be into the drama stuff, but there's a lot of people that be looking for information, but they really do be shadow banning and they be putting restrictions on my channel, which is why another reason why we talk about the brother Ben and what he doing. Because YouTube is some haters, and like Erica said, Facebook is some haters, and we putting them out of business whether they like it or not. So yeah, definitely, my brother. And I do want to say this too, by the way. And I know people will be like, yo, why don't block the haters, you know, or the trolls and stuff. And if you trolling, like, you really just making the point, you know. People don't realize like the trolls, like what they want is for you to get mad and block them or something like that. But when you ignore them, that's the thing that really hurt them. You know what I'm saying? Because they really think their reputation or the things they're saying is so clever when really is not. And that's why I'll be like, yo, the link is in the chat. You can come on here, and y'all notice they never actually do come on here. because it's about trolling. But they always make the point of the show, you know what I'm saying? And they don't really realize that. And also they are patronizing the channel and adding more stuff to it. So they don't realize that either. So, you know, shout out to all the trolls and the haters if you are a troll and a hater. And that's why I don't block them, because, you know, what can they really say? Like, they aren't that clever, you know what I'm saying? All of their stuff is the same old thing over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? They try to cause division, but when they see like somebody not even paying attention to them, it don't really matter, you know, because, you know, that's how you take the power away. Because when you block somebody, they can go back to what they talking about and be like, no, well, Tommy Coolout. I never said Tommy Coolout is a troll, because there's other people in here like this Donald Trump dude. So I mean, you kind of telling on yourself when you do that kind of stuff, you know. So that's all I'm saying, my brother. Like, you should, if you're a brother, and you know, like, you should kind of think about what you're saying before you say it, because you lead yourself into another trap, but you don't think about that because you so caught up in the self-hate. You know what I'm saying? And you could unintentionally leave yourself out there to be a lesson for everybody to learn, you know what I'm saying? Which is why I don't block them, because it just shows the whole point, you know. And it is what it is. But yo, brother Bakari, yo, peace, God.
Peace, God. All power to all oppressed people around the world. Power to the people.
Power to all the power to all the guys in the earth, bro. But
What's
yo,
up,
hey
dude?
Bakari, before you go, yo, you right about the minstrel shows, bro. Like, people might as well put on the blackface and, like, you know, do all the caricatures, because that's all we doing on here is like performing minstrel shows, you know. Because back in slavery, it was a lot of people that made a lot of money performing at minstrel shows, and then they had to sneak in the back door and all of that stuff, and probably get lynched when they walk outside and stuff. But they made a lot of money doing the minstrel show stuff, and apparently it's still selling. So, you know. But yeah, yo, go ahead, God. Yo, go ahead and close out, my brother, and take all the time you need.
Power to all the oppressed people. Tommy Coolout always coming around, always saying something, but he won't get on the panel. Now he's trying to take up for Barbara. Okay, now look, I'm gonna respond to Tommy Coolout. He said because somebody came on Guy's panel and wasn't talking about Africa, and he was saying he was an Indian, he got disrespected. Well, first, no one disrespected him. I know he's talking about me, because I said I'm tired of hearing that that's fake, made up pseudo history that black people love. But they think it's okay to come to someone else's panel and change the topic to what they want to talk about. And they don't think that's disrespectful. Well, I don't want to talk about that. So I'm going to just talk about this and create confusion. So now Tommy Coolout, you know who in your eyes disrespected him. So now good. If he felt disrespected, I told him didn't mean no disrespect. But I am tired of hearing that fake made up history. Now, back to this right here. We have to start taking care of ourselves. We have to do something. Team black everywhere we go, team black, right? When you come here, your ideologies to the side. I don't care if you are Aboriginal. Just don't try to put, if you say you're Indian, just don't try to push it on me. Your Christianity, your Muslim, your Hinduism, any other isms. Just come here, we be black and we can work together. You keep your ideology and all that to you and your clique. Once we ain't working together, you and your clique can have those conversations. But we can't build nothing if every time we want to have a conversation, someone want to come and tell you who you are and want to start talking about stuff that have nothing to do with the topic, right? And that's what Team Black is. If you look on a football field, you see white folks, black folks, Hawaiians, Samoans. It don't make a damn difference. Shit, the Atlanta Falcons even got a Korean kicking. So now you see the Asians, right? When they put on that uniform to be an Atlanta Falcon or a Dallas Cowboy, it doesn't make a difference their background. They are a team and they play together. The Milwaukee Bucks last year when they won the championship, it didn't make a difference that Giannis is an African from Greek. And his brother was an African from Greece, and his brother is on the team. It didn't make a difference who they were. Were those people come from. None of that made a difference. What made the biggest difference was we have a team. So now we have a team. It's not, now we have a team. And you come here and you play your position on the team. And if you want to be on a team and cause confusion, hey, if you watch football, you saw what just happened to Antonio Brown. You saw what happened to Terrell Owens, as good as he was when he was playing. So if you on a team and you cause confusion, that's what happened. The team get rid of you. But we part of a team, and it's Team Black. People that don't want to be a part, don't be a part. If you don't email if you don't want to be a part. Don't come around if you don't want to be a part. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you do come around, but just don't come causing confusion. You know, I'm Brother Bakari. That's the name of my channel. Is Brother. I'm Bakari. My channel is Brother Bakari. Check out my channel. Go check it out. Even if you don't subscribe, just watch up. Go see what Team Black is doing. Go watch my last show called Showing Something Positive. Go watch that and see what we're doing. See the business that we're creating and see who we are working with and how we are working together to build something. And if you're not on that, don't come around me. And I mean that. Peace and one love.
Brother Forecast, can I interject something real quick?
Oh, well, yeah. Hold on.
I saw Shanique.
Yeah, I was about to go to you. Hold on real quick, because I just want to say, yeah, Bakari did a show on positivity, and it showed a whole lot of positive stuff. And MG2, I just want to tell you this, I appreciate all of the knowledge that you give us. And you was the first one talking about, the only one talking about this Ukraine-Russia thing, and all the knowledge that you give, and don't worry about the trolls. I be having my methods for that and all that kind of stuff. But I appreciate the wisdom, and I come to you for things that I don't know, so I appreciate everything you do, my brother. But yeah, go ahead, go in, take as long as you want, and then close out after that.
Okay, I gotta thank you guys, Brother Bakari. I always say you're a dream, brother, because I'm learning so much from you. And I will always call you a Baba there, Brother Forecast, because that's wisdom. Brother Guy's my warrior. I don't even recognize these so-called trolls or whatever. The thing that's more important is Shanique Ford had put something in the chat in terms of burger buns going for $8.39 for a package of just hamburger buns. I believe that's what Shanique Ford was talking about. So I wanted to give you some ideas. That roughly, because mostly they come in packages of 6. So that's roughly $1.39 per burger bun. Okay. And so it kind of tells you what you're paying for McDonald's and why you're paying whatever it is for that trash they're doing. And I guess Shanique said these are organic buns. Let me tell you something. For less than a fraction of the cost, all you need is 2 cups of flour, 1 egg, half a stick of butter, some salt, and some yeast. You could probably do that, probably the whole thing, I'd say no more than maybe 75 cents. That you can actually do the same thing, organic, so-called organic buns. And here's a kicker. You know exactly what you're putting in there, okay? Because I make bread all the time. So the thing is in terms of economy and being able to do things, I used to buy ciabatta bread, which is that nasty stuff you get at Whole Foods. For 50 cents, I make artisan bread for what you would pay $6 at Whole Foods for. I can make 3 or 4 ciabatta big loaves for that, for what you would pay for just 1 loaf at Whole Foods. And there's you're paying, I'm sure you're paying $6, $7, or that was back in the day. Now I can do it for no more than 90 cents for three times. So this is what you can do by yourself. You're paying $1.39 per bun over there for something organic bun when you could actually pay, probably 15 cents making it yourself. I don't know if anybody out here has like a furnace or a gas stove. Most folks I know have a furnace or a water heater. I'm pretty sure everybody here has a water heater. And the reason I say that is, and it's very important to know this, and when you're talking about Russia and Ukraine, and this is why I like to like I said, you're a Baba there, Brother Forecast. I mean, anyone that says that a Baba means age is out of their mind. A Baba is a teacher. A Baba has wisdom. A Baba uses their experience, their wisdom, and their teachings to teach other folks something that they can use. And that's what you do for me, Brother Forecast. I'm learning so much. So that's why I would call you Baba before any other, someone on YouTube that might be twice, maybe 3 times your age, but does not have your knowledge, does not have your experience, your skill. I would call you Baba in a heartbeat. So when you were asking me, Brother Forecast, about, and this is how it's going to affect Black folks. This came through earlier today. There's 3 different things that you might want to concentrate on. Now, I know a lot of folks are talking about, they're talking about, the Russia thing. Many of us have a water heater. Okay, now not very many of us have lithium water heaters or electronic water heaters. Some folks might have that, but most folks I know have a gas water heater and a furnace and gas oven. But even if you don't have a gas oven, you might have a car. Earlier today, what had come through, because it talked about, it says Deputy PM says that the gas crisis in Moldova is caused by the situation on global energy market. Now, anyone that's seen the price of oil go up, natural gas might sympathetically go up with it. Now, since we all, again, I told you what my gas bill was, and that was just last month. It was ridiculous. Even though I did use it, it got cold here, but I mean, beyond ridiculous. I know why. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that Russia is one of the biggest natural gas exporters in the world outside the United States. Matter of fact, a lot of this war is because of gas, because of the fact that, the what's called the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, or Gazprom, or where they want to route things. Ukraine used to steal a lot of the gas from the Russians. But anyways, that's a whole different thing. All I know is my gas bill was up this month, and a lot of it had to do with supply-demand issues. A lot of it has to do with what's going on in Russia. Thank you, Putin. I had to pay more for my gas bill this month. But anyways, a lot of folks don't realize how this affects them. Because as far as I know, many of you guys have water heaters. And you might see that reflected in what you're using, and just your water heater alone. And God forbid you got a gas furnace and a gas oven, you'll be like me. And if it gets any colder, I'm not in a cold area. The area I'm at is much warmer than most of the folks, anyone on the East Coast. So if I'm paying that, chances are they're paying a lot more than I am, if they're paying. Now, there was something else that came through, and it was said, it says, communists promote Duma, that's the Russian, think of the Duma as their Congress, if you wanted, to officially ask Putin to recognize self-proclaimed Donbass states. Okay, the Donbass republics. Basically what's going on is a civil war over there in Ukraine, and you got the United States and the so-called NATO trying to back the western part, and Russia's trying to hold on to the eastern part. A lot of folks say, well, what does that mean? How does that affect Black folk? I mean, you're just talking, whatever. This is the grown-ups table. So anyone that's trolling, I don't even care. I didn't even know there were. All I know is I'm going to go ahead and do what we can to go ahead and thrive in this. But listen carefully. If United States, this happened in Vietnam, this happened in the so-called Latin America War. We're talking Nicaragua. We're talking El Salvador. We're living the effects of what is happening now, and it's affecting whether you guys are going to work or not. You're going to see it happen at your work. I'm guaranteeing you, because you're seeing it now. When the United States backs somebody against someone else, like a Russia or a China, what they do is they have, if there's any kind of turmoil, any kind of war, anything that, you have one of these terms that many of us might not know of, but it's a term called refugee. Okay, kind of like the Afghan refugees, but the Haitians were illegal immigrants. Okay, and so Afghani could get $2,000 and get on the plane to get to the United States, because the United States needed to fight that war for lithium and try to capture it back from Russia. But if you're Haitian, you get beat with whips at the border. So it will affect us whether we think so or not. So what's going to happen? I guarantee you this. I told you guys years ago. I told folks for years that the Afghani were going to start taking your jobs. It's already here, and that they're going to be called refugees with $2,000 checks. Well, now it's here. Now you're going to start seeing if there's any issue again that you have these communists that are talking about going ahead and taking eastern Ukraine. Well, United States needs to ship those Ukrainian refugees somewhere. If you live in Virginia, I hope you know how to speak Ukrainian, or Ukrainian Russian. If you live in New York or Atlanta, I'm pretty sure you're going to learn that pretty well, because those will be your managers in about 4 or 5 years, or at least they're going to be managing your children. Because when the United States gets into a situation, they take on a new buffer class that they need, that doesn't know the actual mechanisms of law, that can't be litigious. So if they're working over 10, 15, 20 hours, to them that's a dream. To an Afghan, minimum wage is like a lifetime, okay, because they saw $1 every month if they were lucky. Making $8 a month, and shoot, an employer will go ahead and fire Raekwon and Ray and Pookie in a heartbeat and get Ahmed or get somebody from the Donbass who's only making $3 a month. They would be more than happy. That'd be a dream for them. So it's going to come your way, whether you think so or not, whether you want it or not. They will be going into your area, owning stores, taking over your jobs, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you start doing it for self. But then there was something else that came through, and I don't think black folks really are really cognizant of this. This is where the real kicker comes in, and we're gonna live this one. It's gonna hurt. This is gonna be the one that's going. A lot of y'all we see a lot of social media stuff coming on this one, but this is gonna be it's gonna sting. It says, quote, Ukrainian court refuses to remand ex-president Poroshenko in custody. Folks will say, what does that have to do with black folks? It don't got nothing to do with us. That's their country. That's Poroshenko. I don't even care about Poroshenko or whatever. Okay, I understand. Only a Negro who's on social media and thinks that others, because of ego, I should say the diversions, that's what I would expect out of a child. But we're at the grown-ups table here. With Brother Forecast, you got to be at the brother. If you're in Brother Forecast form, that's the grown-ups table. That's why I appreciate being here. Because let me tell you something. Did you guys know during when the Ukraine crisis first happened, and I've been over there in that area, I've been all over Eastern Europe, they've got more neo-Nazis per square inch in Eastern Europe than they've got Jordans in Atlanta or Yeezys at a shoe store in Atlanta. There's more neo-Nazis. You can go ahead and throw a stone and you're going to go ahead and find. When I say neo-Nazis, remember, the Ukrainians, a lot of those folks did back Germany, okay, before, because they were so pissed off at Russia. But anyways, you've got neo-Nazis, and Poroshenko was one of the hardcore neo-Nazi type. I mean, when he went ahead, remember he's going over there for corruption. They're bringing him back home because they know they're going to war. But here's the real kicker: a lot of us don't realize that the United States Congress, they're backing the neo-Nazi faction of Ukraine, the hardcore white nationalist version of Ukraine. I mean, they're all white nationalists, but they're backing the hardest of the hardcore. Remember, I've been all over Eastern Europe. And when you go with the Western side that's fighting against Russia are hardcore white nationalists. I'm talking extreme, rabid white nationalists. Hardcore, beyond anything you've ever imagined. And here's the real kicker. In order for Biden to go ahead and fight Russia, he has to back who? Let's all say it together. The hardcore white nationalists. But he needs money. Now, remember I told you guys earlier, remember this, the cost of money went up, right? And that the value of money went down. Okay, clearly. But here's the thing. If they're going to fight Russia, they're going to need a lot of that money to go over there. Remember I told you earlier that Russia went ahead and dumped $900 million worth of treasuries, which made the value of in other words, they're divesting away from the United States. In other words, they said it was a historical low of investment. Remember I told you that earlier. Here's the kicker. If they're divesting, they're divesting better than Cynthia G ever could in her lifetime. They're doing more. Chrissy's divestment couldn't get close to how Russia's divesting from U.S. That's a step toward war, black folk. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Get it through your heads. That's a step toward war. Whether it's cyber or something else, we're going to be affected. But it doesn't end there. If Biden has to take dollars wherever he can find them, and dollars are hard to get because of inflation, and Russia went and dumped and made even the dollar more or less, that means he has to get more dollars in order to fight Russia. Because now, if a dollar is a dollar, I'm cool. But if it goes down to 30 cents, that means I have to pay more for what it cost a dollar before because I'm only holding something that's worth 30 cents. So now all of a sudden, Russia dumps it, dollar goes down in value. That means the cost of dollars goes up, which means he's got to find some money to go ahead and fight Russia because he's backing the white nationalist wing. And the reason I say that is because a lot of these folks that were in the western side of, and I'm not talking Odessa, Donbass, Crimea, I'm talking the western side of Eastern Europe, i.e. Ukraine. Those are the same individuals Steve Bannon and others were wooing like India in order to get money so that way the white nationalists that you had the last 4 years can do what they got to do. That's why Jeff Sessions said black identity extremists. That's why even before John McCain kicked the bucket, they were literally, they had to back that white nationalist wing. But it doesn't end there. Like they say on the TV show, and wait, there's more. Did you know that black folks pay the highest, relatively speaking, in terms of tax revenue and everything else? Why? Because we haven't done for self. We don't have the entities, the companies, the set asides. We don't take advantage because we don't own the businesses. We don't own. We how can you take advantage? So many of us are working for someone else. And if you work for someone else, they have those things called W-2s and W-4s that you guys, everybody's, in other words, your tax money, courtesy of Joe Biden, is going over to where, let's all say it together, Western Ukraine, where the white nationalists are, because this Poroshenko who's back, they're getting ready to fight the East, and he is the head of the white nationalists. And this is what your boy Biden paid for with our money. This losing value, and it's costing us more. Everything ties together, black folk. This is more important than any so-called troll or any of this other nonsense. Let the children in the back of the room do what they got to do. I'm telling y'all something that's going to affect us, and it's not looking good right now unless we start looking out for each other and working, sharing information, sharing skills, sharing ideas, and start building. I'm going to pass the mic on that. Hotep, you guys, and I do appreciate you guys having me out here.
Yeah, thank you, MG2. And yeah, they divesting, huh? Yeah, so yeah. Well, yeah, you know, they divesting, and it's time for us to divest from this stuff that we really need to divest from, you know. Learn the stuff that we really need to learn, because we learned the self-hatred part, but we ain't learned the self-defense part. Like, America spends more money on self-defense than anybody, but we, like, you know, all lives matter. You know, like Bakari said, Ahmaud Arbery's father was like, yo, thank God my son got killed, because now all lives matter, you know. But all of this starts with the hatred of self, you know. But I mean, if you
hold on. Excuse me, Forecast.
Yeah.
I would say I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did because I got to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said Ahmaud Arbery dad.
Uh-huh.
Did you see where the cop down there in Houston County, Georgia, was fired for saying Ahmaud Arbery still got the death penalty, right? He put that in a Facebook chat.
Hold on, say what now?
A cop said, so what? The other people went to jail. Ahmaud Arbery still got the death penalty. This was a cop, right? Mm-hmm. He talking about how they need to be done away with. Ahmaud Arbery daddy said, I can't believe, I'm shocked, and I can't believe how a police officer would feel that way about the people he's supposed to protect. What the hell? I had to tell you that when you mentioned his name. I had to.
Damn, yeah. I mean, yeah, well, it's not surprising, because we still shocked that Joe Biden didn't do nothing for black people, even though, I mean, we not black, because I mean, I'm not black. I didn't vote for him, so, you know, I guess I can't speak on it. But, you know, I'm not surprised. There's people out here taking up for Joe Biden, even though he literally doing all of this stuff that was against the stuff that he preached, but he didn't tell black people he'd do nothing for you. But yo, that I believe that, my brother, because at the end of the day, right? Emmett Till mom, the press conference she had, if you go look at that press conference and then look at a brother like that young kid that showed up dead, you know, that I did on the last premiere. When you look at the press conferences from their parents, because his face was disfigured too, and she said the same thing, you know, like, and it's the same press conferences from 1955 and 2020, whatever year it is, you know. So at the end of the day, like, we still in the same situation. But, you know, I know a lot of people probably not going to care about this topic, and trolls try to distract from the topic. But, you know, you kind of got to learn how to make what they're saying a part of the topic to prove what you're saying, you know. And I know a lot of people aren't going to listen to this show, and a lot of people will, because of the stuff that we talking about, and I appreciate it. And like, you know, like, because we talked about the debt bondage stuff, you know, and we don't realize that how is a business. Like, it used to be called peonage, where people used to put people in bondage or whatever, and it was illegal in America, but they still used it, but nobody went to jail for it. And even if you look at the 13th Amendment, it says involuntary servitude is still legal in America. And that's the whole business. The fact is, you have to get up in the morning and go to work every single day for somebody else, to pay bills to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You are in a debt bondage right now as we speak. They are taking our tax money paying whatever they want to pay, not trying to help us as a people. And we are sitting here taking it. That's why, when it comes to the reparations argument and all of that kind of stuff, I don't really hear it a lot. But people need to start talking about taxes when it comes to reparations. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way we should be paying taxes. That tax money should be going into our own communities. You know what I'm saying? With us. And, it's a corporation. And supposedly it's cheaper to educate a child than to put them in prison. But guess what? They make money putting you in prison instead of educating you. So what are they going to do? They're going to create the school to prison pipeline. And now we got so many of our warrior class in jail, but we hate each other so much that we can't come to a common ground. We got to argue about a word, what we call ourselves, when we literally can put our differences aside and have a conference in each group. If you want to do that, send your leader, Israelites, Moors, Pan-African, whatever group or whatever identity we want to call ourselves or whatever, come to a conference where we identify ourselves, pick our own name, pick our own identity, have things set up like what are we going to do as far as the rules, as far as us, if somebody, as far as biracials or whatever, we can literally have this conference right now, but we don't want to do that. We have people out here with farms. We have people out here with trucking companies. We have people out here who is trying to hire people for, call centers, their own call centers. But we don't put aside our differences long enough to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we have to do because we're stuck in the same situation, and countries are ran by, this called, this debt bondage. That's how companies are ran. And we have to understand it's deeper than that. But, all the stuff that we saying is like, it's the truth. We trying to tell y'all, like right now, if you go to the stores, the foods are going to start getting less and less and less. And if your unity is not there, then our loved ones are probably not going to be here too much longer. It's no telling what's going to happen tomorrow. I've seen too many of my friends, my childhood friends, get caught up in the streets and then they're not here anymore. You know what I'm saying? We still arguing about dumb stuff, and we're not thinking generationally because every other group, like, yo, my great grandkid, I need to put them in a position where they can be successful. But we are saying, I hope the sky cracks tomorrow, but we don't even realize the sky is already cracked. The sky is cracked. You know what I'm saying? We are the 100 and however many people, warriors, they say, coming out the sky. We are the ones that have to come out the sky and do that because the sky is cracked right now. I mean, the sky got cracked 400 years ago, but right now, you aren't going to be able to feed yourself unless you work together. You aren't going to be able to, do anything unless you work together. And we find every single reason to break up, to argue, to fight for no reason when somebody else controls every aspect of our environment. We can't win the gender war when somebody else that's not in our group controls the environment. How is either side going to win? But we so caught up in being right. We so caught up in proving the other side wrong. And now we look up and the grocery stores are empty. But we didn't take the time to create a grocery store. But guess what? Back in 1911, we had a grocery store. Back in 1911, we had a hospital. Back in 1911, we had a black school. But in 2022, we don't have none of that, And Shanique Ford said right before MLK was killed, he made a speech telling the country we are coming and they need to cut the check. And, and she's absolutely right. See, what Martin Luther King was saying was those white liberals, those white allies, those are your biggest threats, Some people may not want to see somebody get shot by the police, but they don't want to see you control your own economy. That's a whole different ball game. And the problem is too many of us don't want to see us control our own economy. So I'm not going to work with somebody across seas because they're across seas. It's not about putting somebody else over you. It's about knowing who you are in the situation that you're in this system who is doing to their own people whatever they want to do. So imagine, we won't have to imagine. We know what they have done to us. And it's not enough for us to put aside our tribal differences and get on code to do what we have to do. It don't matter where you're from. And I get it. Different people from different areas and different, depending how far you get apart, you speak a different language, you may have a different culture, and it's okay to have your your individual your culture, but we don't even know what a culture is. A culture is supposed to be able to keep you safe. It's supposed to be able to feed you. It's supposed to, put a roof over your head to make sure your people are surviving. Culture is not music. Culture is not basketball. Culture is not football. But we got more people that'll say we for a football team. I could probably get 1 million black people if I say, the Dallas Cowboys, and then, black people will show up like we. But if I say, yo, black people, we need to start protecting our communities, I can't get that same number of people. But I get it's a mental illness. I get that we fight over the symptoms instead of the real, underlying truth. And I'm not saying nobody else has to do whatever they have to do, but my goal, and will always be my goal, is to focus on the root of the problem. And I appreciate MG2 what you said about me, my brother, and you are a wise elder brother. And I appreciate Bakari. I appreciate Guy for all the knowledge they gave. Raw and Shanique, I appreciate all of y'all. Of course, my sister Erica Howard, brother Supremacy, shout out to you. Blue, I definitely shout out to you, Blue. And by the way, I'm not sure if you want me to say, but if y'all interested in stay-at-home job opportunities, because right now, it's coming up where you're gonna have to get the jab or either quit your job. And like MG2 said, a lot of people is quitting, but my sister Blue, she got some kind of opportunity. She got an opportunity for you to have a stay-at-home job. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure y'all respectfully text her and let her know that you're trying to get a job. And her number is 804-250-1049. And I'm gonna put it in the chat real quick. But yeah, MG2, you got something you want to say? Anything else before I close it? I'll put Blue.
Just want to thank you guys so much. There was a couple of other newsworthy things that came through the desk, and it's just something that I think a lot of us would want to be very cognizant on. Very newsworthy. You have basically, when I told you about not being able to find honey at the store, it turns out that they said within, quote, bee population has collapsed in 30 years. So when you have things like that happening, and this just came out of WION, and then you had another report that came in and it said, now this was out of Canada, that inflation's at a 30-year high. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, it's about to get brutal. If you're not thinking in terms of being a collective, whatever you can do, Brother Forecast, we need more forums like this, and we need to hear your voice more. We need to hear Blue more. We need to hear what you guys are doing more. The things that are functional, that folks not only your age, but even younger and much older than you, like me and everyone else, we need to hear you guys' voice so much more, and especially ideas. Start to formulate ideas, black folk. I don't care if they're the most wacky ideas, whatever it is. Come up with as many ideas as we can so we can start talking, because maybe one of these ideas will be able to be monetized and be able to save us all. On that, Hotep, thank you so much, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, thank you, MG2. And WC Chavis, yo, it's been a while. How you been? Yo, I'm glad you're here. And he said you didn't vote for Biden, and that's good, we got to get out of this stuff, because too many of our people still call Bill Clinton the first black president. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, politics is about putting yourself in a position to be in a better position. It's not about trying to fit in with nobody else. It's not about trying to assimilate with nobody else. It's about making sure that you are good. But that starts with your own economics. And it starts with our own education, which we can't build our own schools without our own economics. And, as far as, voting and all of that stuff, until we are in a position, number one, where we have our own agenda, building our own stuff, you know what I'm saying? Then putting our money behind our own candidates, and more importantly, doing our own thing without even bothering with somebody else's system, but building our own system. Because like I said, we didn't have to be a part of our own a part of the system to build Black Wall Street. We didn't have to do that. We supported each other. We knew that we are all we got. You know what I'm saying? And Erica Howard, Moonshine is about to be for sale. And for some, I'm gonna try to get some. Definitely, Erica Howard. I'm gonna try to get some from you, and definitely to support my sister. So yeah, definitely. And we gotta understand, like, at the end of the day, like, their systems are going to be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Their platforms cannot last. I'm gonna say it, y'all, YouTube and all of this stuff is going to go down. Like, we met each other and all this stuff through YouTube, but like with brothers like Ben, and I met so many people when I start talking about it that's trying to build platforms like that. They platforms is going to get destroyed. Y'all ain't gonna keep blocking me. Y'all ain't gonna keep taking down my channels and blocking the message, because number one thing in war is propaganda. And if you could spread the message, and right now we listening to the middleman who was our enemy telling us what somebody else around the world that looks like us thinks about us, and we aren't taking the time to sit down and talk to each other. Like Bakari last show, a brother who was African came on, and he thought because we was from America we was hating on him, but we sat down to have a conversation, and the brother been back on the channel showing love and support. And that's what I'm saying with my brothers. I'm not getting caught up in no beef or nothing like that. And like Bakari said, you know, it's like a minstrel show. We are sitting here doing the stereotypes. So I'm not gonna keep doing that. And if it's a problem, we're gonna start showing how to get down to the root of the problem. And if we never talk again, we're gonna see why we are not talking to each other again. We're gonna see if these things can be solved. And I'm not saying everybody got to be friends. We can hate each other forever. But for us to destroy these systems, we have to work together. But again, yeah, I appreciate all of y'all. And yeah, I definitely ain't mean for this show to be this long. And I thank all of y'all for listening. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.